All right, welcome. Everyone will call the meeting to order for the afternoon of April 5th, 2022, and all across America, it's Chappie Jones Day. All right, happy birthday, Vice Mayor. Tony, will you please call the roll?
Jimenez,
Present.
Corrales, Cohen, Crosco, Davis,
Here.
Esparza,
Here.
Arenas, Foley.
Here.
That was here for Arenas. Mahan. Here. Jones.
Present.
Liccardo.
Present.
Thank you. You have a quorum.
All right, thanks everybody for joining. And I know we have several colleagues who need to be home for various reasons having to do with family and health. We're asking everyone, obviously with the exceptions made for bathroom breaks and obvious needs to deal with small ones in the home, if we could all just sort of keep our cameras on. I know there are members of the public who would like to be able to see that we're still with them, so we appreciate that from my colleagues. Let's stand if you are able and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, Councilmember Cohen will lead us into the invocation, which will be provided by the Morrill Middle School Music Department.
Yes, thank you so much. It's exciting to welcome our Berryessa School District family from Morrill Middle School here today for a little musical interlude, and also to acknowledge the great work that school's been doing. The Morrill Middle School has often been seen as a little bit underperforming school in our district, but just last year we were so excited that Morrill Middle School was one of 3 middle schools in Santa Clara County named a distinguished school. So we were very honored about that. I was able to present them with a commendation from the council office last month at a school board meeting. And now I'm excited to have them here to present their music department. The Berryessa School District has taken the music program very, very seriously and never cut the program, while many other school districts around the county and state have done so. So music starts in 3rd grade in Berryessa, and as a result, our middle school music program is quite advanced, as you'll see. And I'm excited about the video that they've put together to show their performance. We're here today. We have the superintendent, Dr. Roxanne Fuentes, and principal of Morrill Middle School, Mr. Carroll, who will just give a brief introduction of our performance.
All right, well, thank you very much for having us this afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here and to represent Morrill Middle School and the Berryessa Union School District. Our band, orchestra, and choir is exceptional. And one of the positives that have come out of distance learning is that we have collaborated our instrumental and our choir program. And so what you'll see today is one of those collaborations. I'd like to thank our hardworking students for putting today's video together, and then also our teachers, Mr. Rydeen and Miss Nguyen, for all their dedication to our students as well. So please enjoy.
Rainbows are
Thank you both for all that you do for our kids, and I hope you report back the standing ovation. Better than Kermit, coming from the Morrill Middle School Orchestra. All right. We have a few commendations to present, so I'm going to first ask our Environmental Services Department and Integrated Waste Management staff. I know Valerie Osmond, I believe, is here with a whole lot of team members. We're going to come on down, and we're also, if we could be joined by the folks who are doing the really heavy lifting, our waste haulers, Garden City Sanitation, Green Team, Green Waste Recovery, and California Waste Solutions. Welcome. All right, so why are we all here, you might ask? Well, we're going to be celebrating Earth Day in just a few days here on April 22nd. I believe it's the 52nd Earth Day. My math is right. And Earth Month, of course, is April. And it's not about getting everybody to drive a Tesla, though I'm sure we'd all be happy to do so. And I'm happy to upgrade my Chevy Volt anytime anybody wants to give me a set of keys. But actually, it's a lot harder work than that. It's the hard work that happens every single day in the streets and neighborhoods of our city. And the folks behind me, and I want to mention again, Garden City Sanitation, Green Team, Green Waste Recovery, and California Waste Solutions. Their teams are doing this every single day in our community, along with partnership with city staff. And we at the City of San Jose are proud to have a diversion of 74% of our waste from the landfill. That means that's what we are recycling, and soon we hope to be composting, right? It's on its way. We're doing some composting now, but that's gonna be much more universal in just a matter of months. And there's a very big transition underway. This is an enormous effort. It requires enormous amount of work from everybody behind me and a whole lot of other folks as well. And so as we celebrate Earth Month, it's important for us to think about the really hard work that a lot of folks have to do every day, and the important work that we all need to do as residents here in the City of San Jose, because we are, after all, very much responsible for this whole recycling and diversion business in terms of how we dispose of our own waste, and soon how we're going to be composting that waste. So I want to thank all of our haulers and our city staff for their diligent work through the COVID pandemic. You probably noticed there was no interruption in service through a pandemic that interrupted a lot of things in our lives. In fact, I don't know anybody who didn't have something severely interrupted, but every week that waste and recycling got picked up, and we are grateful for the very hard work and the dedication of all the folks behind me. Now, I wanted to first just identify a few of the city staff who are involved in this effort on a daily basis. Jeff Anderson, Alana Lowry, Donna Thurman, Peggy Horning, Prabhat Kaur. Forgive me if I just mispronounced your last name, Prabhat. I get it close? All right, I'm getting there. Okay. Junko Vroman, Alyssa Rice Wilson, Emmy Mendoza, Jerry Nelson, Anthony Guerra, and Lindy Stankoff. And of course, a whole lot of folks who work for 4 great companies who are serving us every day. And so we have individual accommodations for each of the companies that are on their way. And so we'll be getting those to each of you. But I wanted to offer this, I believe, to Valerie. All right, Valerie, please take it away.
Thank you so much, Mayor. Yes, I just want to reiterate what Mayor has already said. We are so proud to be working with these great partners that he mentioned, and also proud of our city team that has kept service uninterrupted. During a time when things have been very unpredictable and not always very reliable, we have had very dependable service and seen some great partnerships form out of these last couple of years. So thank you so much to everybody. I am also very happy to share that we are composting. So we are already collecting in the garbage system. We're pulling out those food waste and organics and composting those. So really great program, and thank you to all of you.
Thank you. And thank you for correcting me, because that's really important. We're doing it. The point is, pretty soon everyone's going to be doing it in our city, and that's what we're all going to be up to. All right. Thank you all. Let's take a few photos here. All right.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today we're going to be presenting a commendation to Russ Danielson. Russ, if you're here, I think you have a few folks. You can give them an applause now and applause after. So, and Russ, I know you're here with Victoria, Corey, and Brenda. They can certainly come down as well. They want to come down? Yeah. You can come down now. Yeah. So it's my honor today to present a commendation to, let me actually just move this up a little bit. Commendation to Russ Danielson. Russ Danielson's a longtime District 2 resident who has spent the last few years cleaning up Monterey Road. And if you've been watching any of these meetings, you know that cleaning up Monterey Road and really making it the gateway to San Jose has really been one of my priorities since I've been in office. Now, Russ was introduced to our office back in 2017 when he contacted us via snail mail, if you can believe that. He sent a letter to assist with a possible bridge housing community at that time along Monterey Road. His kind letter expressed a desire to get involved, assist with the design and construction, and even help gain public support for the project. He expressed true compassion for the homeless and ready to roll up his sleeves and be part of a solution. Now, Russ's commitment to bettering our city started long before I came to office. He served in the Coyote Valley Task Force and was a trustee of the Morgan Hill Unified School District. Since 2019, Russ has led a team of loyal and committed friends who are here today, Victoria, Corey, and his wife, Brenda, to work along cleaning Monterey Road from trash from Burnell all the way down to Cochrane, really up to Morgan Hill, if you can imagine that. Russ and his dedicated team have picked up 12 tons of garbage, 12 tons of garbage, if you could believe that. Half ton of recyclables and logged over 765 volunteer hours. Over 765 volunteer hours. Russ has shown exceptional effort leading by example to keep our city beautiful and cared for, and for his selfless dedication to the clean, safe San Jose, we present this commendation to Russ Danielson, who's here today to share a few words. Give him a round of applause.
Thank you very much, Councilman Jimenez, Mayor Liccardo, and the entire city council. I'll just cover just a couple things that they didn't cover. We call ourselves concerned citizens. Initially, we thought we'd maybe have a cool name like Titans of Trash or Guardians of the Garbage Galaxy. But we thought we'd act a little bit more mature, so we chose that because we are indeed concerned citizens. Proud to have my wife, Brenda Danielson, here, Corey LeBlanc, and her sister, Victoria Bartz, both hardworking, faithful volunteers. As they said, we go 10 miles south and then we come 10 miles back. It takes about a year to do it. We don't miss anything. Consequently, we picked up tons of trash and 2.5 tons of recyclable that did not go into the landfill. put back into the system. And how does it get there? Well, junk falls off trucks, thrown out windows, people dump at night. That's probably our biggest thing. And there's some homeless items too. As I said, there's nothing old now. We picked all that up, but unfortunately, trash is still arriving daily. So we're still at it. We work the first Wednesday and third Saturday of each month. We'll continue to go out there to keep our community a little bit cleaner. Thank you.
Strong guy, all those tons of trash. Thank you for all that you do, Russ. All right, Councilmember Foley is going to join me in just a moment because we are going to honor Mike and Susan Hennessy. Oh, there you are. Come on over.
Well, I'm not under
Well,
therapy
you
for
don't get to
anything yet.
start yet.
I'm
I
under-
get to go first.
See, I told you, I'm under therapy for my shyness.
Yeah, right. I have to introduce you. Although do I, I know that's true. And you're used to a microphone. So there you go. Give the guy a mic. He knows what to do with it. I am proud and honored to have this opportunity to recognize and celebrate the dynamic and exceptional duo of Mike and Susan Hennessy. Go stand next to your wife. Thank you. I don't mean to, I'm ordering them around. Can you believe that? I'm here to pay them respect and I'm bossing them around. That's so disrespectful. They are District 9 residents, and I am proud to call them District 9 residents and residents of the city of San Jose. Mike Hennessy has been the custom car restoration and auto repair business for over 35 years. Mike's successes in the industry have yielded several prestigious automotive awards, to include winner of 7 top awards, including Emmy Awards for his Car Guy channel and media publications. Mike is also an NFL alumni with a brief stint as a fullback with the Oakland Raiders back in the day. You may also know Mike from his critically acclaimed television series, The Car Guy Channel, one of the most watched car shows on PBS. Susan has been a nurse at El Camino Hospital for over 26 years, and she manages all day-to-day office operations for Hennessy Automotive, finance, payroll, media communications, and staffing, but that's just their day job. An event you may be familiar with is Mike's Hot San Jose Nights event, typically held at the Reed Hillview Airport. At this event, Mike and Susan recognize community heroes. In addition, bring together the Valley's car enthusiasts and their vehicles to the airport for a car show, along with other various entertainment and activities. Proceeds from that event are used to improve lives through donations to food banks like the Second Harvest Food Bank and other charitable organizations. And that's continuing again this year. Yes. Together, this incredible husband and wife duo have continued to look for ways to support those who served our community, our veterans. In collaboration with the United Veterans Council of Santa Clara County, Mike and Susan developed, scripted, and produced both the Memorial Day and Veterans Day events during the pandemic years. These important virtual events allowed our veterans to continue to be remembered and recognized during a time when gathering in large numbers could have serious consequences. Then when 2021 came around, Mike and Susan played a vital role in the return of the in-person Veterans Day Parade, with approximately 20,000 in attendance to thank and celebrate those who served our country with honor. Mike and Susan Hennessy's volunteer support of our veteran community and collaboration with the United Veterans Council have earned them the respect and admiration of our military and their families. I'm humbled to have this opportunity to honor Mike and Susan Hennessy for their service to our community. Whether they're leading food and toy drives or supporting numerous community charitable organizations such as Second Harvest Food Bank, Toys for Tots, Ronald McDonald House, or the Lord's Pantry, Mike and Susan Hennessy's generosity are a true reflection of their strength and character, their love of country, duty, and service to all our fellow man. And before I introduce you, we have a special guest online. Mark Ibanez is here to say a few words. Mark, you there?
I sent him a type class, but it's not made in the mail.
He's on there. He needs to unmute.
Mark, you need to unmute.
Has he been promoted?
He's promoted.
Yeah. He's retired, so he has to have something else to do it.
He's still muted.
Huh.
I've clicked.
Unmute.
There he
How
is.
about
There we go.
that?
Okay.
Now we can hear you. Mark.
Now you should be able to hear me.
Yeah. Hey, Mark. Welcome.
Can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, good. I was never a technological genius. I'll tell you that. Hey, I just wanted to say real quick, I had the honor of being the MC at the Veterans Parade this past fall, and I met Mike one time, and he stood out to me so boldly as a take charge guy, life of the party. He made me feel comfortable right away, meeting a lot of new people. And I could tell right off the bat that he was one to not sit around. He made things happen. He makes things happen in your community. And I'm just honored that he would even think of me to be on. And Mike and Susan, you are one heck of a 1-2 punch. And I appreciate you, and I hope to see you at next year's parade. And keep on rocking, because everybody in that community down there feels your presence, and it's invaluable. You're one in a million, you and your dynamic wife. Thank you for having me. I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Mark.
My pleasure.
With that, Mayor, would you please present the commendation to the Hennessy's?
Well, that's all the time we have, Mike.
Story of my life.
Should I say a few words?
Well, I don't really know what to say. I think Mark Ibanez stole the show. Ray Watts and myself, we took all the work to get him to come to do the parade. And the only thing I'm disappointed on, the garbage people, there's more of them than some of my guests. So I got to get a bigger email I get sent out. I see Adele, I see Hugh O'Neill, I see everybody, Dan Mountseer. A lot of these people are the ones that we work together when we do parades, and like working directly with Ray and Adele for anything on the military stuff. That team is absolutely spectacular. And working with Dan Mountseer doing the 4th of July parade, with Brian Franzen. This is not a money thing with Susan and I don't think anybody else looks at it that way. I always felt if everybody, it's hard to say this, if everybody gave $1 a month into some program, I don't know what it is. We got a lot of people out here, and it adds up so much. I thought about running for office one time, and I kind of said, I'm not afraid to run, I'm afraid to win. And you know, and I know politics, these folks work hard. Not everybody's going to agree with them all the time, but you know, they're working hard, and I hope people respect it. Sometimes it could be like two fleas arguing who owns the dog, you know? And I feel sorry for some of the ways they go through, but they work real hard, and I want to thank them for what they've done for Susan and I. And I can't do events without their permission. Keep this in mind. So I still want to be on the good side of things. And we get General Hillhouse, I know, is out here, and he's kind of one of the stars of a lot of shows we do. We get Hugh O'Neill, of course, and a lot of, I know I'm not going to catch everybody's name, and I can't do nothing without my wife, Susan. And I came into a little medical issue recently, and I'm going through the chemo stuff, and I got Ray Watts's haircut. that's the reason why I wore a hat. So I don't mean to be disrespectful at all, but I'm going to beat the hell out of this thing like nobody's business. And seeing Mark Ebonius, I mean, you don't get that every day, Mayor. You don't get that every day. You get other things, but but getting Mark Ebonius to give us a call, it was kind of neat. But hey, I'll be up here all day. So thank you very much for the award. And Susan, do you want to say something?
Just thank you very much for the award. And I know everybody helps Mike to work hard, and there's so many pieces that make him who he is. And a lot of them are sitting out there too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to invite.
Everybody down who wants, we'd like to have a group picture.
They want to get a picture. So come on down. Colonel John Swenson, his wife Susan, Doug Bowles. There's some
Ann.
good people out there. Ann Maddox, she allows her husband to come to all my events, take pictures. Dr. Rich Sieve, our photographer. I know I'm forgetting the half a dozen people, but Adele.
Switch in the middle. Yes. Let's go back a little bit. Thank you.
Thanks, Pam.
All right, we're on to orders of the day. Does anyone on the council have any changes to the printed agenda? And Tony, I'm not yet up on my screen, so if you could tell me if you see any raised hands, I appreciate it.
I have no hands up.
Okay. All right, I don't see any changes suggested by any indications on the dais, so we'll move forward then to the closed session report. Nora?
Thank you, Mayor. We do not have a report out of closed session today and no one to announce as an IT director. Sorry, Jennifer. Thank you.
Right. Okay, we're on to the consent calendar. Are there any items the council would like to pull from consent?
Mayor, I'd like to pull 2.12.
Okay, 2.12 from Councilmember Esparza. Other items, Tony, are you able to see any hands?
No hands.
Okay. Let's go to 212 now. And for folks who are following along at home, 2.12 is the 2021 collaborative approaches towards preventing and addressing hate demonstration projects. I'm sorry, Councilmember Esparza, forgive me.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. So I just wanted to comment on this. I think we have the time today where I wanted to pull it and highlight this issue. I wanted to thank SJPD for really prioritizing this work and thank the city, other city staff that have really prioritized hate crimes, increasing public safety, increasing education to identify and report hate crimes, as well as support the investigation and prosecution of these cases. And I wanted to highlight this work and hope that as particularly the crime prevention team, as they go out into the community, I've attended some of their hate crime presentations. The DA's office has also participated in. I think this is really important work. And our Office of Racial Equality produces the books as well. And I would just wanted to mention that the Santa Clara County Hate Crime Prevention and Inclusion Task Force will be making some recommendations as well on how to really, again, improve our education so that the public can identify it and report it, because so much of hate incidents and even hate crimes, we don't know where they're not getting reported out in the community. And that's why I just wanted to highlight this work, because it's so important. There's going to be so much more to come on these efforts. And with that, I move approval.
Would that include motions to the remainder of the consent calendar, Councilmember?
Yes, I approve. Yeah, I move to approve the consent calendar, including 2.12.
Okay. And there was a second from Councilmember Davis. Okay. All right. Any comments? Let's go to public comment first.
I have no hands.
Okay. And none from my colleagues. Let's vote then.
Jimenez,
Yes.
Perales,
Yes.
Cohen,
Aye.
Roscoe, Davis,
Yes.
Esparza,
Yes.
Arenas,
Yes.
Foley,
Aye.
Mahan,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Ricardo.
Aye.
Going back to Roscoe. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. All right. On to 10.1, which is land use consent calendar. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
And any comments from the public, Tony?
No hands.
Okay. I see no indications of anybody wanting to speak. Let's vote.
Jimenez,
Yes.
Perales,
Yes.
Cohen.
Aye.
Roscoe, Davis,
Yes.
Esparza,
Yes.
Arenas,
Yes.
Foley,
Aye.
Mahan,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Ricardo.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. Item 3.1 is the report of the city manager. So Jennifer, take it away.
Thank you very much, Mayor Liccardo and council. This March marked 2 years since the pandemic disrupted the lives of our families, our community, and the world. As you know, we experienced so much loss, faced so many challenges, and sacrificed in so many ways. We witnessed our employees, our partners, and our residents rise from this tumultuous time and come together as one team to support those most affected by this unprecedented event. At times, it seems that words are not enough to capture what we have endured as a community. We produced a video that I would like to share to show the tremendous work that our employees and partners provided throughout the pandemic and continue to do so today. So if we can cue up the video, I'd love to show that to everybody.
It's been 2 years since the pandemic started, and many of us have endured great challenges. We have shown resilience, strength, and courage to get through these times together. We love our community, and our priority continues to be providing impactful services to residents and businesses. Many continue to provide civic services to the community, while others pivoted to work on the front lines to bring resources and services to the most affected communities in San Jose. From giving food daily and serving more than 228 million meals, to helping those in great need of housing and those facing eviction, to providing electronic devices and digital access to adults and kids. We are committed to our city and its well-being. We still have a lot of work to do. We've been challenged, we've learned, and we've triumphed, all while leaning on each other for support. We are strong because we stand together as one team to make a better San Jose for everyone.
We are San Jose.
We are San Jose.
We are San Jose.
We are San Jose.
Thank you. I would like to thank Mayor Liccardo for sharing this video at the 2-year mark of the pandemic in recognition of our workforce and partners who provided essential services. Mayor Liccardo, would you like to say a few words?
Yeah, I just wanted to say a very, very big thank you to the entire city team. And I say team because I know it was often members of our city workforce that were doing the work and the heavy lifting. And sometimes it was partners and we were providing the connective tissue or the organizing. But there's so much work that has been done. And I know we've got a very tired workforce right now. Folks have been through a lot, and they've really carried an incredible burden. But I do want to just very briefly summarize a few of the highlights. As I think we recognize what we've been through together, certainly it has been an incredibly trying time for our community, but there's much to celebrate through this adversity. When we launched Silicon Valley Strong in March 18th of 2020, it was a coalition of the city and many partners, nonprofits, business partners, to offer monetary relief and mobilize volunteers and connect residents. We worked through a coalition of nonprofits and schools and school districts to deliver more than 228 meals countywide over 2 years to our most vulnerable members of the community. We hosted dozens of vaccination sites and mobile vaccination clinics. I think you saw some firefighters in action in that video in partnership with 40 care providers. We signed up 5,500 residents to volunteer through Silicon Valley Strong and a range of activities, including staffing, testing, and vaccination sites. And proudly, we have the highest vaccination rate of any major city in the United States because of the incredible hard work, both of this direct effort of vaccination as well as a lot of knocking on doors. And I know many of my colleagues were engaged in that effort as well to really ensure that everybody was well informed and got an opportunity to get vaccinated. We were the first city in the United States to announce an eviction moratorium to protect struggling families, and we collectively raised more than $30 million for rent relief in the early months of the pandemic, and combined that with many more millions of federal funds and state dollars, and set up 2 rental assistance centers with community partners helping more than 12,881 households stay in their homes. That's a lot of families that struggled and needed that rental assistance. Used a lot of combinations of corporate donations and federal grants to distribute funds to small businesses, nearly 500, I think 499 exactly. All are owned by lower modest income individuals in our city and families, and we helped keep those businesses going, in addition to the Al Fresco and Abierto efforts, which we partner with many local restaurants and cafes and arts organizations to bring commerce and creativity out to our sidewalks and parking lots and parks. And in August of 2020, it's a lot of work, holy mackerel. August of 2020, we launched San Jose Access, a citywide initiative that it really accelerated our efforts to overcome the digital divide. And within a year, we had connected more than 100,000 residents through the development of community Wi-Fi and distribution of devices led by our library team, putting us on track to connect more than 300,000 residents by the end of this year. In case you're wondering, that's equivalent to the city the size of St. Louis or Pittsburgh. And then we launched finally a resilience score using some federal money, and that has engaged nearly 500 young adults in our community, helping to support our city and our community through these tough times, and really proud of those young people and all they're doing in food distribution and helping to address learning loss in so many other ways. So I just wanted to summarize with a very lengthy, thank you for your patience with the length of this description. It doesn't capture all the work, but certainly a few of the highlights.
Thank you very much, Mayor. I really want to send a huge thank you out to the Department of Parks, Recreation, and Neighborhood Services, affectionately known as PRNS, and the City Manager's Emergency Public Information Office for capturing the essence through this video of the astonishing strength and fortitude put forth by San Jose employees and our community during the pandemic. In particular, I'd like to thank Daniel Lazo, Public Information Manager for PRNS, John Amayan, Videographer and Recreation Leader for PRNS, Elizabeth Castro, Public Information Representative for PRNS, and Demetria Machado, our Emergency Public Information Manager for our COVID response and recovery. And most importantly, I want to thank you, all of our dedicated city employees who continue to provide much needed resources and services to the community while also delivering our daily civic services. I'm so proud, honored, and humbled to be among our compassionate workforce who go above and beyond to serve our extraordinary community every day. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jennifer, and thank you for your leadership and your entire team. All right, Councilmember Esparza.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to pile on. I also wanted to say thank you. When the 2-year anniversary came, it was a really reflective time because we've been through so much. the past 2 years. And I'm really proud of our city. I'm proud of our city staff. I'm proud of our residents. I'm proud of our partners because we stepped up and looked out for each other at some really scary, scary times. Winston Churchill says, "We make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give." And it's the people of this city that gave it life, literally and figuratively, these past 2 years. We had some really vulnerable people, a lot of deaths, a lot of fear, a lot of uncertainty. The fire department, who never stopped working, went to people's homes who couldn't come to vaccination sites. PRNS did everything. They really did a lot of things, from learning pods to food. At the last update, the city was giving out 11.5 million meals a month. We know that food distributions are still, the need is still there. Our PRNS staff actually went door to door during the census, so our neighborhoods weren't erased, and they did it during wildfires when the smoke was so bad you couldn't even see sometimes. Our housing department sheltered 15,000 households, and our IT and procurement departments really built up our Wi-Fi efforts so our kids could continue to go to school. So it's been a wild 2 years, I think. Thank you for making that video. Thank you for sharing that. I think that there are a lot of stories that will continue to be told. Thank you.
Well said. Thank you, Councilmember. All right. Other colleagues like to offer comments? All right. Let's move forward then. Item 3.3 is the urgency ordinance repealing Chapter 9.61 of Title 9 of the San Jose Municipal Code regarding face coverings. This requires at least 8 affirmative votes. Dylan, did you want to present anything on this?
Hi, Mayor, there's no presentation, but
Okay.
just some quick framing, and then I'll turn it back to you. So good afternoon, Honorable Mayor, council members, members of the public, and city staff. Dolan Beckel, Director of the Office of Civic Innovation, here to briefly frame the recommendation to adopt an urgency ordinance that would repeal Chapter 9.61 of Title 9 of the city's Muni Code regarding the mandatory wearing of face coverings during the COVID health emergency. So sort of some quick framing. Very early in the pandemic, June 2020, the City of San Jose Council approved Ordinance 30428, which required the wearing of face coverings for all individuals in the City of San Jose outside of their residence in order to help reduce the spread of COVID-19 and mitigate the impact on the public and the delivery of our critical city services. San Jose was one of the first local governments to enact such a requirement. Later in the pandemic, August 2021, the Santa Clara County Health Officer issued the order to mandate the use of face covering indoors. With the recent transition by the Santa Clara County Health Officer from a mandate to a strong recommendation to wear face covering indoors, it makes sense to repeal our ordinance to align with the county and state and federal and minimize any confusion with the public. So this ends the presentation and the framing on this recommendation, and we're here to take any questions.
Thank you, Dylan. All right, questions? I don't see any hands among my colleagues. So we'll go to the public. I don't think there are any hands
No
there
hands.
either. Okay. All right,
Move
thank
to
you.
accept the recommendation.
Second.
All right, let's vote.
Jimenez,
Yes.
Morales,
Yes.
Cohen,
Aye.
Roscoe, Davis,
Yes.
Esparza,
Yes.
Arenas,
Yes.
Foley,
Aye.
Mahan,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Liccardo.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Item 3.4 is the annual summary of labor negotiations. And Jennifer, there's no presentation? Okay, there's a report, of course. Let's go to the public.
I have no hands.
All right. And I see no hands from my colleagues either. Is there a motion?
I'll move approval.
Second.
Motion from Councilmember Jimenez, second from Councilmember Foley. Let's vote.
Jimenez,
Yes.
Morales,
Yes.
Cohen,
Aye.
Roscoe, Davis,
Yes.
Esparza,
Yes.
Arenas,
Yes.
Foley,
Aye.
Mahan,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Ricardo.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, 3.5 are actions related to approvals needed for the sale of the parking lot of the Town Park Towers Affordable Housing Development. There is no presentation.
Move approval. I'll move approval or second.
Okay, second, Councilmember Pross. Any comments? All right, let's go to the public.
I have no hands.
Let's vote.
Jimenez,
Yes.
Peralez,
Yes.
Cohen,
Aye.
Roscoe, Davis,
Yes.
Esparza,
Yes.
Arenas,
Yes.
Foley,
Aye.
Mahan,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Ricardo.
Aye.
Thank you.
Just like to note that we should celebrate Vice Mayor Jones's birthday every week.
Correlation or causation, Mayor?
All right, item 4.1 is to accept the California Governor's Office of Emergency Services pass-through grant for mobile operation satellite emergency system. I see Ray is here. Ray, do you want to say anything? Nope, he's here to answer questions. All right, I'm not seeing my colleagues leap to their hands. So, are there any comments from the public, Tony? Nope.
No
Okay.
hands.
Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Okay, Councilmember Foley's motion, second from Councilmember Davis. Let's vote.
Jimenez,
Yes.
I have a hand raised. This is
Oh,
on
I'm sorry.
4.1.
Yeah, 4.1.
Yeah.
Councilmember Esparza?
Yeah, not to be a downer or slow it down. But
You're
I just,
entitled, that's all right.
I just had a question. I know that so the grant pays for 3 years and then 2 years. And then the city then takes on the maintenance. I just wanted to ask really quickly, technology changes so quickly. Is OES, state Cal OES, are they committed to this technology and providing support for if there are big changes? Do you see any big changes coming after that?
Thank you, Councilmember. Ray Reardon, Director of the Office of Emergency Management. Excellent question. The delivery of this unit is part of the Cal OES system. And yes, for the first 3 years, the upgrades will be provided. And then after that, the ongoing upgrades. This is a pretty solid piece of equipment that's been tested already through the wildland fires over the last 5 years. And the upgrades will come with the software updates.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, let's vote then.
Jimenez,
Yes.
Peralez,
Yes.
Cohen,
Aye.
Roscoe, Davis,
Yes.
Esparza,
Yes.
Arenas,
Yes.
Foley,
Aye.
Mahan,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Ricardo.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Item 5.1 is the Emergency Mobility Action Plan. Welcome, John.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. John Russo, Director, Department of Transportation, with me today to present. Jessica Zank, Deputy Director of the department, Ramses Madhu, Division Manager, and Laura Stuczynski, the main author and project manager. Just a little bit of context on the Emerging Mobility Action Plan. It's one of a series of planning documents that we'll be bringing forward to City Council over the next couple of months. All of which are intended to actually get us closer to the many goals that are outlined either in the general plan, the climate smart plan, or our equity initiatives. There's really 3 objectives that we were trying to achieve when we started this plan. We actually initiated it through a grant from state. The first one was really just to get ahead of the emerging technologies that are coming our way in transportation. I think everybody can remember 5 years ago when e-scooters landed on our streets and we had to kind of retroactively scramble to actually put in place permitting regimen for both safety and the business practices to make sure that those e-scooters are working. So one of the main objectives is actually get ahead of some of these other technologies that are going to be coming our way. Another really important element of what we were trying to do is actually go out and engage the community in a very deep way to just understand what some of the concerns are, what some of the barriers have been to actually access these kinds of technologies. I think we did that very well. We had a lot of lessons learned, which we'll talk about today. So we want to use those lessons as we craft going forward. And the last thing really is to build this plan framework so that we can use those lessons learned and all the data we collected to actually put in place implementable action items to actually get ready for new technologies and try out how these things are going to work. The plan itself will be used by us, the community, the technology companies that will be deploying many of these, and then also for the funding agencies that hopefully will come through with funding for some of these implementation plans. So we'd like to get ready for presentation. I think Rams is ready to go.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Council, and members of the public. Ramses Madhu, Division Manager of Planning, Policy, and Sustainability, Department of Transportation. So, a quick intro. John said most of what I was going to say, so we're good. I want to highlight a few things. One, this plan was developed on the backs of a lot of experience that we've been gaining in DOT over the last few years with various new technologies, scooters, sidewalk delivery robots, AV pilots, and not only the technical things we've learned from that, but also what it means to interact with these companies when they're ready to work with us, when they're not ready to work with us, which is actually most of the time, and bringing a lot of those relationships and knowledge from those processes have brought in here. Another thing that John already highlighted, but I think is really worth hitting the nail on the head a few times on, is this plan, in the larger context of all the transportation planning we're doing right now in San Jose, took on the really hard questions of equity. What does it mean to really look at transportation from the perspective of those who have not been served by the transportation services in the past, or have not been involved in planning processes in the past, right? And coming to any community and talking about questions like, what do we do with emerging mobility? What happens as the larger panacea of questions around the topic get opened up, right? And so we really worked with a very, very dedicated group in our equity task force to dig into those questions and bring what they brought to the table to this report, and not only to this report, but to our further processes we're going to use beyond that, not only for emerging mobility, but actually for the rest of our transportation planning. I think that's a really important thing to highlight here. What's coming out of this report? New processes for us to properly deal with bringing emerging mobilities to our city. Now, equity is not only an outcome, it's a process, right? And making sure that when scooters land on the street, that they don't only serve folks who have suits on or have higher incomes is really important. These companies will survive on their own in a lot of cases when they are only focused on high income users and those who have means. What's our role as a city within that marketplace? That's part of what we're trying to ask in this plan and what we've hoped to have brought to council for consideration. And the last thing is we do have some pilots and programs, of course, that we are recommending as pieces that we're going to step forward with. Laura will get into those. Can we move to the next slide? You have the clicker. There you go. That green one. There we go. Not working. Yeah, there we go. Okay. And just a really quick thing. Go back one. There we go. Is it going to work? Go back one. So as John said, we're coming this year. Sorry, the back clicker is not working. So there we go. Got it. Oh, nope. This year, we're coming to council with a strategic set of transportation planning efforts, including the Move San Jose plan, which is our was formerly called the Access and Mobility Plan, which is our citywide strategy set. An emerging mobility plan is one, let's say, chapter of that overall book, right? And it focuses on this one set of things that we're looking at, which is these new types of technologies and business models that are coming to us, right? These other types of transportation plans will fit within the umbrella of this Move San Jose plan that you'll be seeing soon. And with that, I'm going to pass it off to Laura.
Thank you. So I wanted to explain a bit about what is emerging mobility. Thank you. When we say emerging mobility, we talk about a wide range of services and technologies that are currently available and some that are on the horizon, such as ride hailing and on-demand shuttles, car sharing, scooter sharing, bike sharing, delivery drones that are not just for packages, but also eventually for people, robotic car sharing and ride hailing, and also automated shuttles. There's also the pilots, as Ramses had mentioned. We've had a number of them over the years, including and testing technologies that prevent scooters from getting on sidewalks to partnering with companies on automated vehicles and delivery robots. The pilots have helped us understand about the potential and risks of these new technologies. We're also aware that many in our communities have not been able to access these technologies and they're wary of them. Our aim is to position the city to guide these typically privately owned services to advance the public good, to ensure that all San Jose residents, particularly the city's historically marginalized communities, can benefit from them. To do that, we centered racial equity in this planning process. There's a number of ways to be able to accomplish that. The first step we took was to try to collaborate with our communities in every step of this plan, particularly its most marginalized communities. We did that in large part by creating a racial equity task force made up of community leaders and organizations. They educated us, challenged us, and invited us into conversations with their communities. We also employed a variety of strategies to meaningfully engage the city's Black, Indigenous, Latino, and Asian Pacific communities, as well as other marginalized communities in this planning process. For instance, we conducted a number of focus groups over the course of the project, including several with LGBTQ youth, members of the Muwekma Ohlone tribe, and people with disabilities, to ensure we were hearing from communities not represented on the task force. We also interviewed a number of community leaders, both at the beginning of our planning process and its conclusion, to ensure our approach and conclusions were on mark. We also sought broader impact through Zoom workshops, online survey, pop-up events, and regular updates on the city's website. We also sought to understand how the past has shaped the present to avoid causing harm as we move forward. Our focus was on transportation, but transportation is deeply intertwined with land use. I'm going to share a bit of that history to provide some context for our recommendations. But I want to first acknowledge the land that we're talking about is the ancestral lands of the Muwekma Ohlone tribe. Their land was forcibly taken from them and without compensation. In the early 1960s, the Interstate 280 construction was underway in San Jose. The massive project destroyed numerous homes and businesses that were in its path, principally low income and communities of color. The decision to route the highway through these neighborhoods was not random. These neighborhoods had seen decades of disinvestment, in large part because they had been redlined. In the 1930s, the Federal Housing Administration guaranteed bank loans for homes based on the race, income, and occupation of residents living in a particular neighborhood. Red zones were considered hazardous to make loans in because these neighborhoods were occupied by Blacks, Latinos, and Asians. White neighborhoods got the highest grades, green and blue. What this meant is that residents in these neighborhoods could not get loans to purchase homes, and those who owned property could not get loans to renovate or repair them. The building stock in these neighborhoods gradually declined, causing these neighborhoods to be viewed as blighted and hence ripe for redevelopment. Redlining maps didn't create segregation and racism. They were expressions of longstanding federal and state policies, and they helped maintain that inequality. Likewise, the city's residential zoning has helped maintain segregation by severely restricting where and how much multifamily housing could be built. The pink areas of this map are areas zoned for single-family homes. The blue areas are other residential zones, including multifamily, which is typically more affordable housing. San Jose's freeways were designed to facilitate travel by auto, which became the dominant means of travel after World War II. With a car, people could live further from their jobs. Having a car became critical to accessing opportunities. But owning a car is expensive, which is a problem if you're already struggling to find affordable housing. The small purple wedge in this pie chart represents the most affordable apartments in the city currently. With housing and jobs widespread, it's also hard to cost effectively provide fast and frequent public transit service. Consider this example of the time differential to travel by car and bus from the east to the west side of San Jose. A disproportionate percentage of transit-dependent riders are low income, people of color, people who are disabled, youth, or seniors. Improving public Given this context, it's not surprising that the Equity Task Force that are focused on emerging mobility was far too narrow. Their communities are struggling with pressing issues such as affordable housing and displacement, access to health care, toxic pollution, and public safety, among others. They pressed DOT to collaborate more closely with other city departments and public agencies to improve the city's transportation system as a means of addressing these bigger issues. For example, they said the city and BTA should improve public transit to expand where and how much affordable housing is built in San Jose. Improving public transit is essential, they said. Currently, it simply doesn't work for a lot of people. Buses don't go where they need to go or where they need to get there. They run too infrequently. They cost too much. It takes too long to get where you're going, and the bus stop may be too far from your home. That was what consistent. And however, they did not see emerging mobility as a viable option, particularly the services that are available in San Jose, such as ride hailing, electric scooters, bike share, and car share. They said the services were too expensive. They didn't meet the needs of many in their communities, such as parents that need to transport groceries or children. They may not have a smartphone or a credit card or a driver's license, all of which are required to use these services. The information typically is offered in English, sometimes Vietnamese and Spanish. Many more languages are spoken in San Jose. The service may not be available in their neighborhood. They may not know how to use it, and they may feel unsafe using it. This is consistent with what we were seeing on the ground. EV charging stations, shared cars, bikes, and scooters tend to be concentrated in the greater downtown, west, and north San Jose. We realize we need to recalibrate our approach. We need to focus on removing barriers before, or at least concurrent with, new and expanded services. After hearing about innovative approaches being tested in other cities, the task force concluded that, done right, emerging mobility could be helpful, particularly if the services were designed by and for the community and complemented public transit. They could take the form of on-demand neighborhood shuttles, electric cargo bikes, and community-operated electric-powered rideshare programs, among other options. As a result, the recommendations generated by this planning process focus on means to remove barriers to access and ensure that services meet community needs. For example, these are the 5 top recommendations ranked by our Equity Task Force on the public. The first is to offer a broader array of emerging mobility services that meet a wider variety of needs, such as people who are seniors, people who are disabled, and working families with kids. Making it easier to pay for these services, both affordable and payment options that don't require you to have a credit card or a bank account or a smartphone. That we collaborate with our communities. Our communities made it very clear to us that they want the city and private companies to work with them to design, execute, and evaluate programs. They don't want services or equipment to simply show up in their neighborhoods without their consultation. They'd like to see minimum service levels by geography for all services. They'd like the community organizations to be paid to help promote these programs in their communities. Companies should give them vouchers to share with residents so they can try out their services. The city and companies should educate people on how to safely use these services. And last but not least, workforce training. They would really like to see workforce training and local hire requirements for emerging mobility services, particularly for jobs that pay well and have a future. There are quite a number of lessons learned as a result of this project. One was deeper appreciation of the importance of maintaining ongoing relationships with the city's communities, particularly its more marginalized ones. So those perspectives and experiences inform all of our work. Like many DOT projects, the community engagement associated with the Emerging Mobility Action Plan was funded by a grant. That grant expired with the completion of this plan. But the city needs to stay engaged with its communities as we implement the plan's recommendations. And consistent with one of the plan's top recommendations, we need and want to collaborate with the communities to design new services and programs. That's not only good practice, but an increasing number of state and federal grants require community engagement as a condition of their grants. We're struggling to secure the funding necessary to maintain that level of engagement. We know this is a citywide issue, not simply a DOT one. Just wanted to simply thank again some of the people who helped us on this project, on our equity task force, other community members who participated in interviews and focus groups, our consultants, and our advisory committees, both technical and public, and to members of our city staff who helped us with the research on this project. We're happy to answer any
Thank you.
questions you might have.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you. All right, let's go to the public first. Tony?
Hold on just a sec. I have Brenda Zendejas.
I'm sorry, is this public comment or did I come a little bit early? I just want to make that clear before I make my comment.
This is not open forum. This is comments about the mobility action plan specifically.
Okay, then I will not make a comment right now. Thank you.
Okay. Blair Beekman.
Hi, Blair Beekman here. Happy meeting, council meeting today, beginning of April. Hi, everyone. Hello to Brenda, who the previous public comment person. She hasn't been around for a while. It's nice to hear her voice. Boy, this is it. We are, I think, officially at kind of the second stage of development in our lives about the future of technology in a community. You're doing some really interesting work here, and you've had a lot of study sessions with all parts of the community, and you know, you've developed your own staff that is more trying to be more accessible to public concerns and needs. I speak often, all the time, basically in kind of a stage 2 form where we can just familiarize ourselves and feel comfortable with the future of technology in the city and how it needs to be a shared process. Part 3, stage 3 to this process is really learning that it is a really interactive future that we have, where the community really becomes much more involved in the process itself and is allowed that. That's key. We're not at a state of war anymore. We're moving into an era of peace and what can be open democracy. And this means that the Internet of Things is the concept of how we create a better, more open democracy. And that will naturally lead to sharing of ideas and concepts and better democratic practices for community. So good luck in how we actually work towards our stage 3. It's a really interesting, hopeful future. You guys are doing some good beginning work here. Thank you. And let's just, you know, keep it moving and just think, you know, civil protections is a really important concept. And I just think we're doing some good stuff. Keep up the good work. And yeah, there's a future of peace and an open democracy that's possible. We can continue to build upon. Thank you.
Jill Borders.
Hi, thank you. I'm sorry that I'm not don't have a better, more informed question, but I attended another meeting yesterday at the city, and the Transportation and Environment Committee was there with a report, and I am really confused at this point. I don't know how that report, the Move San Jose and Supportive Policies Update, kind of either coincides with this or not. I'm trying to figure out what question I'm trying to ask, because yesterday I was really concerned that it seems and appears to me to be that we are actually changing our direction of our general plan quite a bit. And if it's in good ways and we've incorporated all of these, you know, equity outlooks and looking at things from a different point of view, that's great. But boy, I wish we could just talk plainly. You know, I am confused. And when I read these memos and when I'm hearing these reports, what I'm on the top surface, it all sounds good, but underneath it, I just want you to know from the public's perspective, it feels a lot like what we're saying is our general plan was a disaster. It didn't work. We had to keep changing it and changing it and changing it. We made some big mistakes. A lot was kind of learned at the expense of what we're seeing today in our city, which is homelessness, which is a lot of despair, inequity, and so forth. So I really wish we would talk plain in these reports. Are we steering away from our general plan and a lot of these things that the Department of Transportation Environment Committee and like Emerging Mobility Action Plan and all of the, are we moving away from some of the core principles behind our general plan because we learned lessons? I would just like to hear more plain talk. That's all. Thanks.
Kiana Simmons. Kiana? Okay, we're going to go back to council.
All right, thank you. All right, let's go to the council with questions or comments. Councilmember Esparza.
Thank you. I just wanted to thank the team for all their work. When you say you've collaborated with the community, you really have. There has been resident input. It's community-based nonprofits as well, but actual residents were a part of this process. And that's something that I think often we miss that as a city. And that was really embedded in that process, in this process. And I think that's really important because we do need different approaches for different neighborhoods. Things that are going to work in District 7 are going to be very different in, say, District 9, right? And so I just wanted to thank you for that. And recognizing that we do need different strategies across the board. I think before COVID, we had a lengthy discussion about charging stations and the need for the state to give a grant so that as our city is built out, as opportunities are created, that swaths of the city, entire swaths of the city aren't left behind. And I think this work is really important. And so I just wanted to acknowledge that, and that we help homeowners, we help shift workers, people that have to leave the house at 3 a.m. to go to work, people that ride their bikes after working at a restaurant, which might be their second or third job of the day, and they're making it home, that we recognize that as a city. With that, I'll move approval.
Second.
Okay, thank you. Other questions, comments? Okay, I wanted to raise, oh, I'm sorry, Councilmember Foley, go ahead.
You can go first if you'd like.
No, please, I'm sorry, I missed your name because my computer screen was blocking it. Sorry about that.
No worries. I want to thank the committee too, or the staff too, for your report. I think it's really helping moving us forward. This in conjunction with the Move San Jose plan, or the overarching Move San Jose plan, will really help us define and create a transportation system or that is accessible by all of our community. I'm glad to see in the equity task force that it was involved, that you had people with lived experiences who were able to help out and craft this plan. But I have a couple of questions for you. So I mean, I'm really excited to see this come forward. I co-hosted a town hall with Ramses on Move San Jose just last week, and we had many from the disability community there and representatives from senior community. So one of my questions is, are we reaching out to disabled and older adults to participate on the either the Equity and Inclusion Community Advisory Board or the Equity Task Force?
We did not have someone on the Equity Task Force who was themselves disabled, which is why we had focus groups to make sure that we were hearing from those communities. We did a wide recruitment. We had about 60 applicants from the Equity Task Force, so a number of wonderful people who wanted to participate. We wanted to keep the groups fairly small, so there would be opportunity for a lot of dialogue. But we did not get many applicants from the disabled community, so we intentionally compensated for that, but go out and try to find folks who we could talk to about those issues.
I would encourage you to reach out to them as I know you have already, but to make sure that they are involved at every step of the conversation. They have a motto, nothing about us without us. And it could be that they didn't have access to the task force common conversations that you were having. So we have to make sure that maybe it's technology they don't have, or they have the technology, but we're not communicating in for visually impaired or hearing impaired. And we need to make sure that we can do all of that and reach out to all of our community. And I know you're aware of this, but I just want to keep putting it out there as also an equity issue that we need to make sure that we involve those with disabilities and older adults. And there's an intersectionality too between older adults or those with disabilities and those in marginalized communities. They all go together, and we need to make sure we reach out to both. I know you say that. I know you agree, and I just needed to make that public comment. I do have one other question. I know that one of the issues in our emerging mobility options is the inability to carry groceries as you're, either getting on a bus or share on a bike. Is there any way we can encourage private bike share operators such as Bay Wheels or others to offer cargo bikes as an option to help?
Thank you. Very good question. This is Jessica Zank, Deputy Director for the Department of Transportation. Our system for bike share, Bay Wheels, operated by Lyft, is a regional system, as probably many people know, but maybe not all. And in some places, namely in Oakland, they have done some of those pilots to expand services to include more explicitly people with certain types of disabilities to have bikes that are accessible for them, as well as more cargo bike setups with groceries, et cetera. What I will also offer is that there is work to be done to get those options more readily available and sustainable from a financial perspective. So that is not currently a system that's borne out simply by the market. But it is something that the Bay Area is working on, and we're looking at those pilots that were done in the East Bay to see how we can build upon them if we can have supplementary funding.
So it's a little bit like our transportation system. It's all market driven. If you're not using it, then the bus lines are dropped, but then people can't get around because their bus line is dropped. Or in our transit first priorities that we've talked about, it takes longer to get anywhere on mass transit than it does in an automobile. So people choose their automobile. So it's really what's the chicken and the egg. And somehow I feel we need to push the initiatives so that we can, dare I say, figure out a way to underwrite it to allow access and prove that the product or service is out there and will be utilized, maybe a pilot program.
Yes, I will say that is exactly the type of pilot program that we're looking from this plan to launch. I will also offer that in addition to the financial sustainability, there are technical issues, because in the Oakland experience, it was hard to actually get to one of those bikes when you were the person who needed it, right? Because they weren't as plentiful. And so there are operational issues as well. I just don't want to hide those. But as somebody who gets most of her groceries on cargo bike, I believe we can make it happen.
And might there be federal grants to assist us with a pilot program or state grants?
We are looking, and in the report, unfortunately, it's rather in the back, but there are different pilot programs with funding sources, potential funding sources identified, including federal grants, some of which are administered at the regional level, and state grants that particularly support emerging mobility and fill the gaps that we see.
Wonderful. I'm really excited to see this go forward and for us to really take into consideration all the needs of all of our residents and encouraging them to assist them to get to their jobs and to get to the grocery store in an easy, accessible way for all. Thank you so much for the report.
Thank you. All right. I had a few questions about some of the recommendations. And John, thanks for your email. I just saw that in response to some of the concerns I'd raised earlier offline. So the recommendations are listed in Chapter 8. They include, for example, a first mile, last mile mobility connector. I think we'd all agree that's really essential to be able to get more of our community connected to transit and some of the emerging fixed transit that we have, as well as buses. And certainly agree with the recommendation that we should target District 3, District 4, District 7, where we think we have some transit, and certainly a lot of community members that could use better connections. I'm sure there are other parts of the city as well we should be looking carefully at. But all we get on pages 8-15 is, hey, to be continued. We'll figure it out. We don't know what mode, we don't know where. And I'm just wondering, are we really asking enough of our consultants? This is supposed to be an action plan. And I guess I went into this hoping I would read this and learn something that would tell me, oh, I know what our next action is. This is what we got to go do. And I don't feel like I got that from reading this report. And I'm just wondering, did we demand enough of our consultants where we get done with this very voluminous report, lots of beautiful pictures, some of them, by the way, not taken in San Jose. But anyway, nonetheless, it is what it is. And we don't yet know what project we should be applying for next.
Well, it's a very, it's really good comment, Mayor. This is John Rusto again, Director. The report does go into some specific recommendations of some pilot projects that we think are achievable in the nearer term. So we do want to move forward if the council is will approve this tonight. What we did learn from this report is really the basics of what we need to be doing both on the technology side and the community side and the operational side and really the feasibility side of a number of these things. So we learned a lot from our outreach to the community, our outreach to the technology companies that may be interested in coming here. So I think that if it didn't highlight in specifics as much as we should have, I think what we can do is actually, as we start to develop some of the pilot projects and then some other ones that we might be able to come up with over the next couple of months, perhaps we can return to either the T&E committee or council here to actually spell those out in some more detail. Because that's what the intention of this is. And I know that that's part of what your comments earlier was to really get this more actionable. And I think we really have a really well done plan with the basics of understanding the whole landscape here with this and seeing what other cities are doing, what other technologies are being deployed elsewhere. So I think we have the basics of what we need to do. If it's not spelled out enough in specifics, we certainly need to do that more. And actually, that is what our intention is, to actually start to do those.
Yeah,
It's going to take some funding to do some of this. And so we're going to need to have partners at federal, state, and local levels to actually get this stuff done.
If I may add one simple thing, one of the things that we heard from the task force and others was that we often speak far too bureaucratically. And we tried to keep the report itself simple. And we may have erred too far in that direction. There are a series of appendices on the project's website that they're perhaps not perfect, but they do go into more detail with some starting point scopes for the potential pilots that do really give us some a little bit more of what you're looking for, I believe, in terms of where to start, how to scope it, what the tasks are, and how to get these off the ground quickly.
Okay, so John, you'd made references to appendices, I know, in an email. So those are not part of the report. That's not the stuff at the end. There's
an appendix. The report is pretty long already.
Yeah.
So we did take a number of these items that have more specifics in terms of pilot projects. They're actually in some of the appendices that are on the website. The memo references that, and they're this is pretty voluminous, the appendices themselves.
Okay.
A lot of backup data.
Appreciate that. I haven't seen any of those appendices. So I just read the report wondering, okay, great. Now, I mean, kind of like I mentioned to you earlier, now, how are we going to help a Spanish-speaking mom with 2 kids who lives in Plata Arroyo or McKinley Bonita get her kids to school and get herself to work? And I don't feel like this report told me, okay, we got a plan. And I guess that's my concern. I feel like we're still kind of very 30,000 foot level.
Yeah, and Mayor, we really actually appreciate the thinking you put into the making these planning documents more actionable and actually getting something out of them. And I think I pointed that out, that it's very helpful. I think that we have done that. It may not be in the memo or the actual plan, but it's in some of our appendices.
Okay.
That we have that ready to go. Should council approve this plan, we're going to try to move forward. And I think really another big important point I think I touched on in opening remarks is this really well done plan is going to be very helpful for our funding agencies to see what we have done as we built this framework up to be able to really do this with community, and so that whatever technology that we want to deploy together with private sector really hits and approved and really is something that serves all parts of the community, and that's important to our funding partners. And so I think this plan is really going to set that table very nicely for that.
Okay, appreciate that. And then going to one other thing, I know we talked about offline, was decision around using Betty Ann Gardens as, I think this autonomous shared pilot is really important. And I think it's important that we do a lot of these, and hopefully we can find a way to scale it. Because I think that's, I'm sorry, not autonomous scale, I'm sorry, electric shared mobility with electric cars that folks can participate in car sharing arrangements on. And certainly, certainly nothing against any community members live in Betty Ann Gardens. It's obviously, I live only a mile, 2 miles away from there, but it's right next to the only BART station we've got in the entire city. And as you explained, Transform is really pushing to do this pilot somewhere that was transit rich, it sounds like. And I'm just trying to understand better the rationale for that and why we wouldn't have wanted to try to do the pilot in a place where we knew people were frankly more stranded. And we've got a lot of low-income communities that are stranded far from fixed transit.
Yeah, we agree. I think what we probably would be beneficial is actually have one of the team explain how that particular project came about, and in the context of working with our third-party partners on it, and then being able to compete well for the grants that we're actually going after. So sometimes they don't fit perfectly into some of the other ones, but I think if we can take a minute and explain what went into that, and we're still trying to see the results of that as well. They're not fully deployed yet, but
yeah, I understand. You're still getting the cars out there.
Right, right, exactly. But I think for context for people who aren't familiar with Transform, it's a Bay Area nonprofit, and the Metropolitan Transportation Commission applied for a 3-city pilot program to do electric car sharing and mobility hubs in San Jose, as well as in San Francisco and the East Bay, I believe, Richmond. And so we partnered with them to get that funding. They chose Betty Ann Gardens because of kind of 2 fundamental things. One is a functional partnership with First Community Housing, who owns and operates that site. And second, the location near transit, we very much appreciate what the mayor said, that people are not stranded. And at the same time, with that access to transit, they can truly live there without owning a car, because they can access a car when they need it. They can access transit when they need it. So it's a different perspective on how to enable people to have a car light life. We would love to learn from that and apply it in places without that kind of transit, because that does truly get people the last mile and 2. And so that came about through funding in 2017. They did a really robust community needs assessment. They're installing chargers today. They have a charging car sharing partner, Envoy, on board, and they'll start that program. And Laura is actually our representative to the advisory board there. So we're constantly going to be, learning both from what has been slow, right, in getting that going, and also what works. And the community needs assessment was pretty foundational.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for explaining all that. So we'll keep digging in to try to expand more pilots in other parts of the city. I look forward to that. On the on the subject of helping improve mobility for members of our community with differing abilities, I know Councilmember Foley raised an important question about participation. The autonomous wheelchair pilot that we have going at the airport was, I didn't see it referenced in the report. Is it in there somewhere that I missed? Is there a reason why that isn't?
I'm sorry, I wasn't even aware of the until recently.
Okay.
I'm sorry, wasn't aware of it.
Okay. And the project that we're working on, the airport connector, which I would hope would help a lot of employees at the airport obviously get to work. I know you're spending a lot of time on that, Ramses. Is there a reason why that wasn't featured?
Yeah, we don't see that as really part of the same scope of what this plan is. I mean, this plan is talking about in new technologies kind of coming to the right of way. That's a major infrastructure project, right? And so while I hear it, it's autonomous, right? We're definitely going for an autonomous system, and I understand the overlap that you're going for there. That project in itself is just so much larger, and of a different, just of a totally different nature. I think it's as simple as that.
Okay. And I saw some data. I'm sorry to get into a small point, but this was something that puzzled me. I'll try to find the page here. It had to do with the bike share. It's on page 5.10. I'm sorry, 5-10, which is the equivalent of page 76 for those of us who are scrolling through online. And it's got a graph, and it shows the bike share traffic in San Jose, and it suggests we're kind of commensurate with San Francisco and way ahead of Berkeley and Oakland. I'm thinking that's not what I remember hearing from Lyft or from MTC or anybody else.
Yeah, great question. So this particular slide and graph is actually the Bike Share for All program in San Jose. So the Bike Share for All program is just like a commercial, great opportunity to share that Bike Share for All allows access for low-income people to bike share 100% of the time for $5 for the first year and $60 thereafter. Through some partnerships with actually Transform and the Bike Coalition and our local affordable housing providers, San Jose has done a much better job than most parts of the region in getting Bike Share for All members out in that. So we actually are pretty comparable to the rest to San Francisco in terms of Bike Share for All memberships.
Got it.
Just you're absolutely correct, not on the market rate.
Okay.
Program.
When it comes to revenue, we're not getting them revenue.
We're not, although our ridership, last I knew, was higher than the East Bay system
It
on
is.
a per bike basis. So we're not, it's not all bad. It's
Okay,
just
that's
not
good.
San
It's good to
Francisco.
hear because I know I know we're all trying to keep the infrastructure in place. And I know it's important. So thank you for that. And then finally, the sidewalk detection technology, and it's something that we've been working on for several years and got interrupted by the pandemic, and it's been challenging. It sounds as though what we've settled on now is, or I guess the companies have settled on is, we're going to just have a speed regulator that slows them down to 5 miles an hour on sidewalks. And that's for a few of them, but not for all of them, right? Is that?
So we've had trouble with that program, right? And it's a technology problem that still hasn't been solved.
Yeah.
There are no systems that can be deployed at scale to detect exactly where those scooters are. And a false negative in this system is incredibly dangerous. And we've had, and maybe you've experienced this riding around the scooters. Sometimes the GPS gates kind of float and you're riding on the side of San Jose State, and all of a sudden your regulator kicks in and you're going really slow. And that's not the worst because you're in a protected bikeway sometimes. But if you're in other places, and I've gotten actual personal hits on Twitter from folks, hey, that damn scooter slowed me down in the middle of an intersection.
Right.
That's not okay. Right. And so we're really, the companies have been and actually been pretty responsive in trying to figure out how to do this. The technology problem is a lot more challenging than we had thought at first. Right. And so we are having companies try very, very hard. And we're having a little more success with some than others. But it is not kind of a ready-made solution that we can just deploy and kind of ask everyone to do. And so we're continuing to work with the companies to trying to figure this problem out. But it is not something that is solved in a holistic way.
And how do we know when we got the scooter that's going to be regulated? Is there some symbol on it or?
Right now, it's within pilot areas, and so we're it's not there yet, right? To the point of kind of that demarcation of the larger fleet and all that kind of.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if I want to go find one, where can I find it? I'm just curious to go try to ride it. And see
They
what
would be
happens.
downtown, but
Okay.
I think we would work with one of the companies to kind of get you there.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
So it's not something anybody in the public can just go hop on right now.
Go for it.
They are located in the downtown area, and most of them also have a little tag on them saying that they're a pilot scooter.
Okay. So I'll look for a little tag. All right.
Yeah,
Great.
exactly. And we are happy to share, perhaps as John suggested, through a follow-up report, some of the details, because I think they are pretty interesting about the different types of technology that are active providers. 2 of them are using basically GPS-based technology with some other additions, and then 1 is using totally different technology, and they actually have pretty different results, good things in some directions for the different technologies. So
Right.
it really has depended widely on what we're looking for.
Okay, great. Now you've inspired me. I'll get out there, do some wheelies. Councilmember Esparza,
No,
was that from
it's
before?
been left on.
Okay.
I'll turn it off.
Any other
Thanks.
comments? All right. I don't think anyone online has a hand raised either, so we'll move forward with the motion. Let's vote.
Jimenez,
Yes.
Peralez,
Yes.
Cohen,
Aye.
Davis,
Yes.
Esparza, Arenas.
Yes.
Yes. Foley,
Aye.
Mahan,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Ricardo.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody, for your hard work. Appreciate it. Okay. Item 8.2 are actions related to real property located at Park Avenue between South Almaden and Market Street. We do have a presentation on this item. This is the final item of the day. Welcome, Rosamond and Nancy and team.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Nancy Klein, Director, Office of Economic Development, and we are very excited to be here today to share with you completed work and ask for approval related to items that staff has gotten direction on from Council previously. Kevin, would you please move to the next slide? I'm here, first of all, with Kevin Ice, Yen Bowie from Real Estate, and of particular note, Cameron Day from the City Attorney's Office, whose skill and patience really made it possible for us to partner extremely well with the property owner, Jay Paul, and just wanted to commend to you the partnership, public-private partnership between Jay Paul and the city. Been very collaborative and very cooperative. As mentioned on this slide, we had previously discussed orders of condemnation, a surplus sale authorization, along with identification of fair market value for the property, all related to moving forward on the City View project, which we'll talk about a little more in just a minute, and also adding that through this transaction, the city will receive $5.9 million roughly, and that staff is requesting up to $3 million be allocated to the Park Avenue reconfiguration project, which we'll show you a slide on in just a moment. Next slide. I think many of us, all of us, are very excited about the City View project, which will be 3.8 million square feet of office. It notes that the project was approved, the development permit, in June of 2020, and that there are 14,348 square feet of Park Avenue land that is needed for the project to be completed. And this also allows getting the square footage on the right-of-way also allows a reconfiguration of Park Avenue. And the real property purchase, as noted, was previously authorized on November 3rd, 2020, and that the conditional vacation was approved April 3rd, 2021. As the council has heard items recently, it is not at all unusual that the city does not own all the property in the right-of-way, as many people think we would. And in order to move projects forward, the city needs to be a partner in consolidating and owning those properties in order to sell them to the property owner. Next slide, please. I just wanted to mention that on Park Avenue, the middle of the slide and to the right, we will be excited to be home to the City View at 3.8 million square feet and 200 Park, little over about 1 million square feet, and the Park Habitat project adjacent at approximately 1 million square feet. All three projects happening in one small area will be stellar design by all and incredibly exciting. And the additional innovation is what you see here, which is the reconfiguration of Park Avenue. It will be a deep, beautiful dive into green streets that forward net zero goals, as well as making sure that pedestrians and bicyclists have an excellent experience. That segment of the street is between Market and Almaden, and will serve as a model for the intended goal to stretch all the way to Dearden. And I do want to give a shout out to Blage Zalalic, who has been the inventor and cheerleader for the Park Avenue project to date. And with that, I'll turn the presentation over to Kevin Ice.
Hello, Kevin Ice, Real Estate Manager. So to accomplish the vision for the Park Avenue reconfiguration project, the city will need to vacate and transfer this 14,000 square foot parcel to J. Paul. The transfer area will be privately owned public open space, or POPOs as it's called, after the reconfiguration. J. Paul will pay for the Park Avenue pedestrian improvements in the transfer area. So the city needed to consolidate ownership of the 14,000 square foot area. It was all city right-of-way, but title determined that people from the 1800s owned the underlying property or fee interest for the parcels shown in the colored areas. So the red hatched area was city-owned, and all of the colored parcels to the south of that needed to be acquired through eminent domain litigation. So that process has concluded, and today's recommendation to formally accept the parcels will complete the city's acquisition of the entire 14,000 square foot area. So the next steps will be that the city will sell the 14,000 square foot area to J. Paul for $5.925 million or $413 a foot, as authorized in a prior action in 2020. To complete the eminent domain litigation, the city needed to pay $1.689 million in payments to identified heirs and to the state in the instance where no heirs were found. The developer paid the city the $1.689 million as an advance against the ultimate sale, so the city didn't need to come out of pocket to acquire the parcels. So crediting this early payment against the sale price, the developer will owe the city an additional $4.236 million at transfer. So next steps, complete the sale of the 14,000 square foot area pending vacation of the Park Avenue right-of-way. The vacation has been approved by council, but it's conditional based on construction performance. So once the conditions are met, we'll complete the vacation and process the sale. The net proceeds from the sale will be recognized in the general fund. The Park Avenue reconfiguration project will require the landowners to pay for improvements to the pedestrian spaces in front of their properties. So J. Paul will pay for the improvements in front of City View and 200 Park. West Bank will pay for the improvements in front of Park Habitat. and the city will need to pay for the improvements in front of the Tech Museum parcel. So when we return to recognize the revenue from the sale, we'll recommend allocating up to $3 million out of the proceeds to cover the obligation, the city's obligation for the tech parcel. And that concludes our presentation, and staff are available for questions.
All right. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you, Cameron. Thanks also to Steve Choi and Sam Young and Tiffany Pong and everyone who has worked so hard on this. This has been, I know, very complex, and it's been quite a history lesson. And I know this isn't the first time we've had these history lessons. I want to come back to that in a moment, but let's first go to the public and hear if we have any comments.
I have no hands up, but I wanted to note that Councilmember Crosco has notified me that she's been on the meeting on the attendee side on her phone
Oh,
and would like to vote yes for the items for which she has been marked absent. I have given her permission to talk, so she'll be able to unmute at will.
okay.
I can't promote her to panelist because she's on the phone.
Oh,
But I have no other attendee hands up.
got it. Okay. How would you like to proceed, Tony? Should we go
Oh,
back
it's
to any of
back-
those items?
No, just I wanted to note that out loud because I got the text. So all of the votes have been unanimous. So it's 11-0, not 10-0. She can now unmute at will whenever she needs to. I'm leaving her permission to do that. Just wanted to note that for you guys and for the record. And there's no other public members who want to speak on this item, so back to council.
Okay, great. Then we'll go to council. I've got a couple questions, but first we'll go to Councilor Perales. I do want to just say a very big thank you to Jay Paul. This is a massive investment in our city, and it is great to see the first tower. We're seeing glass on the tower now, and it really looks beautiful. And I think this reconfiguration of park is going to be fantastic. Really agree with everything you said, Nancy. It's going to be great to see all that greenery right in our downtown. It's just a beautiful enhancement to our downtown skyline. So thank you to everyone for their hard work on this and unwinding a very difficult knot, and to Jay Paul for their patience and persistence for all this. Councilmember Perales?
Yeah, thank you. And that's it. That's all I was going to do was thank them as well. It's a tremendous investment. Something we've waited over a decade for, and so just excited with this opportunity. Thank you to city staff as well. This was a challenge, and as we've seen along Park Avenue, and I think as we'll continue to see in some of these older blocks throughout the city. But I appreciate all the work, and I'll move approval.
All right, motion and a second from Councilmember Davis. All right, any other comments? I just had one question. I guess maybe this is going to be a law school quiz question here for Cameron and Nora. I mean, we keep encountering this challenge. We had it with Google. I know we're going to have it again. We got some land that we think is in the right of way that somebody back in 1842 owned. And I mean, I know this question of property ownership is not a purely objective one, because there are plenty of folks who will tell us that the actual owners were none of those folks, but actually members of the Ohlone tribe. So my question is, way back in law school days, they tell you in property law about this thing about adverse possession. If it was open and notorious that you possessed a piece of land and then you qualified, satisfied all these other requirements, there's a rule against perpetuity. Never get this one right. But in any event, whatever it is, if you squat on the land long enough, eventually it's yours. And there's a lot of requirements involved. Well, we've been squatting on a lot of public land we call streets for many decades. And can we just send out notice to everybody and say, look, you got one last chance to claim the land, otherwise it's public land? Or is that impossible because we're a public entity?
I'll let Cameron, it is adverse possession.
Oh, it is. Okay, I got it right. There we go.
But it doesn't necessarily apply here. And Cameron, do you want to talk about part of the issue that we're facing is what lenders require, and that's the driver for a lot of this. But go ahead.
Sure. So yes, adverse possession is the legal doctrine where you can take someone else's property through use. And if I recall, going back to law school, there's five elements of it, one of which is paying taxes on that land, which we don't do. So I think governments have a very strong hurdle to cover to adverse possess private party land. So I don't think that's typically allowed. Secondly is Here, there's, just like you said, it could be the Alonies, it could be the city of San Jose. There's a reasonable interpretation that several different people would own this. It really comes down to what's insurable, because it's what the grantor will take, or the grantee will take. So for here, it would be J. Paul probably not willing to take this unless title's insuring it. And so while legally we could argue in an eminent domain proceeding or a quiet title proceeding that we have the rights to this land through the demonstrated title history. And I think that we're probably able to do that. In order to really secure it, eminent domain was used here in order to get full and final title that would be insurable. So when this issue comes up in the future, there may be different paths to go down besides eminent domain based on those specific facts of those parcels.
But there's no procedure or process out there. We could take a map of all of our city streets and take them to court and say, okay, we want to clear quiet title for all these city streets. This is your last chance to object. There's nothing like that.
Not to my knowledge, it's an easy way to do it that would still undercut it. Eminent domain is the way to really take something for a public purpose and eliminate anyone else's rights. So that's the cleanest way to get it done. And that's on a case-by-case basis, not a blanket, excuse me. There are other things that people have done, i.e. the maps, and that's how we got into this situation here, is these right-of-ways were created using a map. And there are certain rights that go with making a map, but there's also ways that you can say you don't have a fee interest, you only have a use or a limited restricted use. And therefore, other manners are much more, we'll say, final and complete in securing that fee interest into the city.
And Mayor, I would point out that for most of the city, the adjacent landowner owns the land pretty much to the middle of the street, and we just have an easement. So it's not like
Yeah,
an
so we don't even
ownership
get
that we
title
have
there.
anyway.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
Downtown is a little bit different, but
Huh.
for most of the city, it's an easement.
Okay, so there's no easy way out. We're stuck. All right, then let's vote on the motion.
Jimenez,
Yes.
Perales,
Yes.
Cohen,
Aye.
Carrasco,
Aye.
Davis,
Yes.
Esparza,
Yes.
Arenas,
Yes.
Foley,
Aye.
Mahan, Jones,
Aye.
Ricardo.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. We're done with our work today, but we do have open forum. So any member of the community who'd like to speak is welcome to do so on any item that's not on the agenda. Everyone has 2 minutes to speak. Thank you. Tony?
Blair Beekman,
Hi, Blair Beekman. Thanks for the meeting today. It was a very short meeting. I guess just an overall view that in the past weekend, it's really been asked that, the war in Ukraine may be going on for like into the end of this year, into next year. I hope it doesn't do that. I hope we can all be working towards ideas of peace and community. What is the future of community for the future of Ukraine? And I think by the end of April, I think we should have some really important options to understand just how to develop the future of Ukraine in terms of local community process, which is what we do here in San Jose and in the Bay Area. Racial equity, what are a few other issues? Openness and accountability, health and human services, and reimagine are all concepts that, interestingly, I think can really be of help to the Ukraine area, how they're going to have to rebuild. So good luck to them, to everyone, and how we can just simply talk about peace and really ask all sides to want to work towards ideas of peace for the future of Ukraine and its local communities and how we go about cleaning up things. And to quickly offer, the work I do with technology, open public policies and its accountability, it's a shared process. I mean, I hope it can be a part of all the good practices that are available now. And it's not dominating one thing over another. It's learning to work hand in hand. And in those terms, it is just incredibly awesome in what it needs to be about. The future of technology is not just the technology itself. It is how we have open public policies and its good practices. That's the innovation. It really, really is. And I hope we're learning those lessons. And I need to learn to start to say that brings about community participation and a community future where the community is much more involved with public oversight and decision making of our government. And that's interesting future. Good luck to everyone. Thank you.
Jill Borders,
Hi, thank you. Last Wednesday, I attended the planning director hearing meeting, and I was really concerned because a site development permit was approved for a project, and I'll just let you know, the project was basically 2 large buildings totaling 286 something thousand square feet. Demolish those and then build another one for 302,000 square feet. So basically bulldozing 2 down, building 1 big one. That's all fine and dandy, but I wanted to let you guys know that 227 trees will be removed in order to make that happen. And 148 of those trees are ordinance size, 79 are non-ordinance size trees. And as we talk about our declining tree canopy, it actually kind of hurts my heart to think that 227 trees are going to be removed to build this large industrial building, and they don't even know, it wasn't documented who would even lease the property. There hasn't been anybody that's committed to that. So when we go ahead and remove 227 trees, and then we ask ourselves, I wonder what's happening. I hope you know I'm trying really hard as just little me to pay attention. But as elected leaders, I would really appreciate if one of you, all of you, some of you would consider looking at the process in which we just send these site development permits with enormous amounts of tree removals. We just send them on to the planning director's hearings, they're approved, and nobody really even knows that these trees are just going to be gone, just taken away. And we don't even know what we're going to get yet for that removal. So if somebody wants to take that on, I would be really happy to see it go at least to another committee, at least it go through an elected leader so that we could start paying attention to where our trees are going. Thank you.
Deborah St. Julian.
Hi, my name is Deborah St. Julian, and I'm a faith outreach volunteer with Showing Up for Racial Justice at Sacred Heart. I've lived in District 2 for 36 years, and I've worked as a nurse practitioner for over 30 years. And I consider police violence and the proportionate violence to Black, Indigenous, and people of color to be a moral and spiritual crisis and a public health crisis. And I'm speaking today to ask the San Jose City Council and San Jose PD to do better around community and public safety. The San Jose PD is supposed to make us feel safer, and said we know by statistics and recent occurrences that if you inhabit a Black or brown body in San Jose, you have an increased chance of being pulled into the police jail system, and in many cases being injured or killed. Unfortunately, we have the recent example of Keon Green. I am asking you to offer public safety and community safety to all the people you serve by committing to real transparency and accountability. I'm asking you to stop treating victims of police violence like criminals, release body cam footage as it is, and create a trauma relief fund for all victims of violence, including victims of police violence. In this season of Lent, I implore you to be brave, to turn towards truth, transparency, and accountability. Thank you.
Christopher Logan.
My name is Chris Logan, and I live in District 10. I'm a community organizer at Sacred Heart Community Service, where we serve over 55,000 individuals per year. Speaking today to denounce the actions of police officers who are quick to shoot innocent Black men, particularly in the case of Keon Green. As a Black man, I'm terrified that I'll be shot by police officers if I ever encounter them. Several years ago, one of Sacred Heart's members was shot by a police officer, and we could no longer trust the police to treat our members with dignity and respect. As a result, we have trained our management to handle most incidents in-house to avoid tragedy from happening on our grounds. Elected officials must be transparent and accountable to the people they represent. In cases of police shootings, we demand our elected officials denounce gun violence in all its forms, especially gun violence by police officers. We also demand that SJPD stop releasing misleading information about victims of police violence. SJPD to stop treating victims of police violence like criminals, such as handcuffing victims to beds and interrogating family members. We demand SJPD release the body cam footage as is, unedited, without captions, and any other information required by SB 1421 in a timely manner. And we also ask the City of San Jose to create a trauma relief fund for the victims of all violence, especially in cases of officer-involved shooting. Thank you.
Hector Hernandez.
Hello. Hi.
Hello.
Hi. I'm a local voter in District 5. My name is Hector Hernandez, and I am a member of Hero Tent and Luna. And I demand justice for Keon Green. Keon Green was shot the morning of March 28th by a SGPD officer. He did not commit any crimes. In fact, actually, he actually stopped the crime, but yet still shot by the SGPD. And stories like Keon Green have been ignored by City of San Jose for far too often, and especially members in the Black and Brown community. Now, we demand SGPD stop releasing misleading information about the victims of police violence. We demand SGPD stop treating victims of police violence like criminals, for example, handcuffing them to the hospital bed. We demand SGPD release the body cam footage as is without any edits. We demand City of San Jose create a trauma relief fund for the victims of all violence, especially of that of police officer violence. And lastly, we demand City of San Jose officials denounce gun violence in all forms. Thank you.
Angel Guzman.
Hello, my name is Angel Guzman. I am a student of the Justice Studies Department at San Jose State University. I am a local voter, worker, and native to District 5. Students of the JS department are organizing on behalf with Hero Tent to demand justice, transparency, and accountability for our former student survivor, Keon Green. This matters to our community because these acts of police violence subjected to Black, Indigenous, communities of color are unjust, dehumanizing, and heinous. You all had seen from a national to a local reaction of 2020 George Floyd uprisings. However, as a council, continue to turn away when police violence occurs in our communities. We demand SJPD stop releasing misleading information about victims of police violence. SJPD stop treating victims of police violence like criminals, such as handcuffing victims to their beds and interrogating family members. We demand SJPD release the body cam footage as is, unedited, without any captions, and any other information required by SB 1421 in a timely manner. We are watching, we are frustrated, we are hurting. We will continue to condemn police violence and its injustice, as you all should too as a council, instead of abandoning our communities in times of injustice and enabling the cycle of police violence and its injustices. Black Lives Matter. End of comment.
Julia Mangione.
Hello, my name is Julia Mangione, and I am a member of Showing Up for Racial Justice, SURGE, at Sacred Heart Community Service. When I was younger, I used to believe that police did everything they could to protect everyone in our community. But now I know better. Have we seen police violence enacted against marginalized community members and Black, Indigenous, and people of color time and time again, particularly talking today about SJPD, with no justice, transparency, or accountability, most recently in the case of Keon Green. As our elected officials, you have a responsibility to denounce gun violence in all its forms and to hold your fellow public servants accountable. I join the countless others demanding the release of truthful and unbiased information about the victims of police violence, demanding the treatment of victims of police violence with respect, care, and dignity, and providing funding for trauma relief for victims, especially in the case of officer-involved shootings. It should go without saying that body cam footage should be released, unedited, in full immediately. I'm also echoing the comments and demands of the members of Showing Up for Racial Justice, Sacred Heart Community Service, Hero Tent, and the Justice Studies Department. Know that we are all here. As our last speaker said, we are watching, and we hope that you do the right thing in upholding the spirit of racial justice that you claim that you value. Thank you.
Rupini Kamat.
Hi, my name is Rupini. I'm calling today to demand that the City Council acknowledge the pain and trauma that was inflicted by SJPD on Keon Green last Sunday, and that the City Council take action to follow the demands of Keon Green, his family, and the public after yet another incident of racist SJPD violence. I also ask that the mayor rescind and apologize to the Green family for his response following the shooting, where he made excuses for the officer who inexcusably shot Keon Green 4 times within seconds of arriving on the scene. The mayor said, "We learned more information in the days and weeks following police brutality than is immediately clear," but he fails to acknowledge that the reason for this is that police deliberately withhold information, spread misinformation, and slander victims in order to protect officers who commit racist violence. In this case, as in many previous cases, the police's withholding of information and treatment of Keon Green as a criminal further exacerbated the trauma experienced by Keon Green and his family. This trauma demands reparations, in addition to firing and prosecuting the officer responsible and creating a trauma relief fund for victims of police violence. The city must also commit to adopting and investing in recommendations that are going to come out of the RIPS committee, which are focused on replacing police with real, tangible community services that keep people safe, instead of inflicting horrific violence against our Black and Brown community members.
Lana Gomez.
Hi, my name is Lana, and I am a recent graduate of San Jose State University and a community member that works with multiple organizations such as Youth Impact Partnership, Justice for Gregory Johnson, the Student Homeless Alliance, Students for Gregory Johnson, and much, much more. I'm here today because I am concerned about the actions of SJPD and the way that they handled the situation with Keon Green at La Vix. I have been to La Vix many times as a student and as a community member. I know many students who currently go to La Vix in between their classes, and they are now horrified to go because of the actions of SJPD. It is beyond disturbing that the police shot an innocent man within seconds of entering La Vix without knowing or understanding the situation at hand. They shot a man who disarmed and de-escalated a gunman, which is something that the police should be doing themselves. A badge should not shield police officers from accountability. SJPD has proven time and time again that they are not capable of keeping the community safe, but rather they cause more harm. For the public to truly be able to be safe, we need police accountability. We as a community demand that SJPD release the body cam footage as is, unedited, and without captions and any other information required by SB 1421 in a timely manner. And when I say a timely manner, I don't mean years from now. I don't mean months from now. We want weeks. We need it in a timely manner in order to hold police accountable. I yield the rest of my time.
Sandra Asher.
Good afternoon. My name is Sandra Asher, and I'm a longtime resident of Almaden Valley in District 10, a member of the Safety for All Disability Justice Coalition, as well as a member of Surge and Rex at Sacred Heart. Is it any surprise that parents of special needs children like me do not feel safe with SJPD around? I'm outraged that in our city, a college student has the skills to peacefully de-escalate a situation, and our police officers do not. Rather, time and again, SJPD has shown that they only know how to shoot first and treat everyone they encounter as a criminal. They never take accountability for their actions. What tone does this set for our city? Are any of you parents? Would you expect your children not to take responsibility for their actions? Of course not. We must stop releasing misleading information about victims of police violence, and SJPD must stop treating these victims like criminals. SJPD should release the name of the officer who shot Keon Green, and that officer should be fired and prevented from working for any other law enforcement agency. As elected officials, you must be transparent and accountable to the people you represent. In cases of police shootings, we demand our elected officials to denounce gun violence in all its forms. It's time that City Council steps up and supports real change. Time for a complete overhaul of how we oversee our police force, as clearly they cannot hold themselves accountable. Thank you.
Lonnie Ballard. Lonnie Ballard. Okay, I'm going to move on to Kiana Simmons.
Hello, my name is Kiana Simmons, and I'm an organizer with Hero Tent and a resident of D3. I'm sure everyone on the council is aware of the brutal police shooting that took place 2 Sundays ago at La Victoria, a taqueria 1 block away from SJSU. As my community has laid out, the police, within seconds of arriving on scene, shot Keon Green 4 times. He is a college student who goes to Contra Costa College. He's the captain of his football team. And that night on Sunday at La Vix, he disarmed someone peacefully, which is something that the police have consistently failed to do. As a reward, he was shot 4 times and is in the hospital where he currently stays. He did not deserve this. He did not deserve to be shot. He did not deserve to be handcuffed to his hospital bed and treated like a criminal. His family did not deserve to wonder if he was alive or dead for hours after, since the police did not disclose that information even to his family. We demand that SJPD stop releasing misleading information about victims of police violence. We demand that SJPD release the body cam footage as is, unedited, without captions and any other information required by SB 1421 in a timely manner. And I just want to add on to that as well. In their press conference, the police, they did not show the community footage that was there, but they showed the stills that looked incriminating, those half a second stills that they were able to capture. But I wonder how many of you and how many of the press that reported on the story saw the community footage that shows SJPD walking up the stairs and literally in 3 seconds deciding to shoot Keon Green 4 times, unprovoked, no warning, no anything. How can you come to any kind of conclusion as to, does this person deserve to be shot? Answer is no. But how do you come to that conclusion in just 3 seconds? You don't.
Camilla.
Hello, my name is Camila and I'm a member with the Party for Socialism and Liberation and a local voter with District 9. I am a San Jose native and I am infuriated by the recent behavior of San Jose Police Department. I too demand, as long as with the community, San Jose Police Department to stop releasing misleading information about victims of police violence, for San Jose Police Department to stop treating victims of police violence like criminals, and for San Jose Police Department to release the body cam footage as it is immediately. This city cannot put Black Lives Matter street banners and then not hold their police department accountable when they do behaviors like these. Please, thank you.
Reverend Sammy Evans.
I am the Reverend Samantha Evans, and I'm a minister member of the Presbytery of San Jose, and I live in District 6. I'm also an active member of PACT, and on behalf of PACT, serving on the Reimagining Public Safety Committee of the City of San Jose. I'm here to speak in condemnation of the unjust police killing of Keon Green. As a person of faith, I am deeply committed to the flourishing of my community. At the core of my tradition is the commitment to work for the physical, spiritual, emotional, and communal well-being of every single member of our city, and I cannot be silent, because as the Apostle Paul writes, when one member of the body suffers, the entire body suffers with it. You may think that because you do not personally know Keon Green, that you yourself are not suffering, but you would be wrong. For whether you know him or not, he, whether you see or not, is your brother. You may think that because you have never been and never will be the target of a police force rooted in white supremacy culture, that you yourself do not suffer, but you would be wrong. For this culture has infected our entire collective body. Our body is sick, and the only way to become whole again, to become well again, is to reckon with this evil in the system and root it out. We are one body, whether we like it or not, and the health of our entire community will depend on our willingness to reimagine a society built on compassion instead of fear, care instead of violence, and cooperation instead of gross othering. So I ask you, our elected officials to be transparent and accountable to us, the people you represent. And I ask you to dig deep down into your beings and allow the cries of our Black and Brown siblings to soften your hearts and move you to action.
Crystal Calhoun.
Hello, my name is Crystal Calhoun. I'm the mother. I'm a Black woman. I'm the mother of three Black sons. I have 15 grandkids. I'm the elder leader of the San Jose Unified Equity Coalition. And what happened to Keon Green is I feel like that, you know, he's my son, because I feel like everybody's our children. So he was my son. So as soon as I heard about what happened, and like what Kiana said, 3 seconds, you cannot make a rational decision on nothing in 3 seconds. San Jose police has been known for this criminal violence. February 24th this year, Spotlight newspaper did an article, said that San Jose police are some of the most racist cops in entire Bay Area, and they're very cruel to brown and Black people. That was in the paper. That's not my statement. But what I want, and what everybody wants, was we want racial justice for Keon Green and his family. We want the body cam footage shown right away, and not like they said in the edited version. We want the San Jose police to go and do some real racial training. We want the police to stop victimizing the victims after they're the victims of this. This brave young man, a college student, was in there and he helped save lives. And within 3 seconds, San Jose police came in there to shoot him up. San Jose needs to stop treating Black people, brown people, indigenous, queer people like that. We all need the truth to be told. I have 15 grandkids. I'm shaking in my boots every time they leave the house because of San Jose police. I'm more afraid of them than the ones down the street. Black lives matter. All lives matter. And we need the politicians to start standing up for this. And Mayor Liccardo, you stop making the victims the bad guy here. Nobody even knew what it was until you started saying mean things about this kid.
Okay, I still have 19 hands up online, but I'm going to move to an in-person speaker. Sharat Lynn, please come on down to the microphone. And I'll go back to the online speakers next.
Yes, thank you. My name is Sharat Lynn. I'm a member of Human Agenda, and I've been active in the community for decades. And I want to address two things. One is, of course, the killing of Keon Green. I mean, this is absolutely an outrage. This is a criminal act, and it needs to be prosecuted. We need the body cam footage unedited. And in terms of going forward, what's needed in order to solve this is to have, remember that this is not just, one bad cop. It's also about a system. And so to reform that system, the first thing we need is proper training. And the kind of training, the racial sensitivity training that's needed is not just from some police service agency that provides this kind of thing nationally, but education of the police from the community. The community has a lot to say to police about what they need to do to address and be compatible with the community. So that's one thing. The other thing I want to address is May Day. Viva Calle has been arranged on May 1st, which it conflicts with the May Day parade, the May Day march that we have every year ever since 2006. So I want the council to be aware of that and to, one way of addressing this is, first of all, avoid the conflict in the future. And number two, make a proclamation. May 1st is May Day, because that's what the people in this community want. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, Emma?
Hi, my name is Emma Harton. I'm a member of Surge at Sacred Heart. I also live in District 3. I just think it's really important for the City Council to really sit with the realities that folks are sharing today of just how scared people are, especially our Black and Latino community members here in San Jose, young people, right? One of the recent grads recently mentioned just like students who just might normally frequent Livix, which is like a known San Jose institution, right? just how scared people are of the risk of being shot down by San Jose police just for living their lives. Nevertheless, imagine if they decide to actually be brave and intervene in a situation. So specifically, I'm here today to urge the city of San Jose to listen to people who are taking the time out of their day to voice their concerns and their fear to you, and to create a trauma relief fund for victims of all violence, specifically of police violence and officer-involved shootings in San Jose, as well as to hold San Jose PD accountable to stop releasing these falsehoods about their victims, to stop handcuffing victims to hospital beds and interrogating their family members, as well as to release body cam footage in a timely manner. Thank you.
L.
Hi, good evening. My name is Elle, like the letter. I am a resident of District 3 and also a member of Hero Tent. I wanted to use my time to echo what a lot of our community members are imploring for the city council. What happened with the shooting of Keon Green by SJ police is unacceptable. It's horrifying, it's despicable, and it's just another example of a repeated behavior, of a repeated pattern within SJPD of shooting first and asking questions later. I also find it disrespectful for the council to be talking among themselves, walking around while people are speaking physically in front of them. It's almost as if this is nothing. All of this is nothing. It's like a big joke because we've known the answer for so long. We need police accountability. We need body cam footage to be released in a timely manner. We need people to stop treating victims of police violence like criminals, like they're animals, like they did something wrong, when literally Keon Green disarmed the gunman, something that other community members pointed out that San Jose police cannot do. All they do is escalate the situation and put our community members in danger. So many people are telling you in their face that they do not feel safe because of the current systems. So I join my fellow community members in these demands of releasing the unedited body cam footage without captions, reparations for all victims and families of police violence, especially Keon Green, and to fire the officer who shot Keon Green and demand that he never serves on another police force.
Derek?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, thank you. My name's Derek. I am a staff organizer with Sacred Heart for the REX committee, or Race, Equity, and Community Safety. And I won't belabor the moment here because I really do want y'all to hear out the community members, the residents, the people who live here in this beautiful city. Who have been calling for these changes, calling for the release of the body cam footage unedited, and ensuring that justice is truly done for Keon Green and his family. I just want to say that it does give me a bit of PTSD to be on this phone talking about this. So I implore you to reach out to the family. Just you, no cameras, no pretense. But just to hear from the family and see what they need, because it's clear that in the midst of all of this, the one focus that we keep bringing our eyes back onto is blame. And what I would love for the city of San Jose to do in this situation, regardless of if litigation comes forward or not, is to embrace the family, to talk with them, and to hear from them. Justice for Keon Green. Thank you.
Eric, are you still on the line?
Still on the line.
Yeah, this is Sam Licardo. Hey, could you send an email to me at sam.licardo@sanjoseca.gov, and be happy to arrange for a meeting.
Surely.
Thank you.
Ramon Rodriguez?
Good afternoon, council members. I'm Ramon Rodriguez. I'm not from San Jose, but I live in Turlock, California. And the case of Keon Green shakes me really hard because I've been holding police all around my area accountable including the cases of Trevor Seaver from Modesto, California, who's been shot the same way by a police officer 7 times when he was suffering a mental crisis, and also Angelo Quinto from Antioch, California, and countless other victims of police violence. I implore you to that you stop promoting the gaslighting propaganda against Keon Green, because this is the same tactic that Modesto police use against Trevor Seaver and Antioch against Angelo Quinto when they die in the hands of police violence. And as a person of color, puts a lot of fear and breaking trust between the communities that police are supposed to serve and the police themselves. And I'm urging you to start defunding that excessive budget from the San Jose police and start putting that money towards a reparations fund for police violence victims, and do something against that officer, because he really needs to be charged with felonies. His name be released to the public and release the footage, the unedited footage, because we're getting tired of hearing more police violence. We're tired of the propaganda, the gaslighting, and the more budget going towards police instead of investing in people with other alternatives that makes the community safer. So for the sake of the community and all over California, start apologizing to the Green family right now. Stop the propaganda against him, treat him as a hero, and start holding that police officer accountable and fire him and charge with felonies and be prosecuted, because we cannot rely on police to investigate a police. We have the power, and we'll do whatever we can to hold the police accountable. Thank you.
Call-in user 1.
I know this is what happens when you have online training courses. This is always the case. They're always going to say they're not trained enough, even though these people make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. This is nothing new in San Jose. These people talk about it's only brown and black people. Trust me, they do it to people who look like me, and I'm white on rice. I've had cops pull guns on me and pull the hammer back. If you've ever had someone pull the hammer back when they point a gun at you, let me tell you something. It is not what you want to ever experience, let alone get shot. So now this city council, they have no money for training. They have online training, but guess what they're going to have? Speed cameras. That's going to keep down everybody. Keep in mind, this city is equal opportunity oppression. It's not just a couple races. They like to squeeze everybody they can, whether it's the cops or the city council. I can tell you because I've experienced it personally. Secondly, they want to have more traffic cops. They want 50 traffic cops like they used to have back in the old days. Let me tell you something in downtown San Jose. Back in those days, they had undercover cops pulling people over in plain clothes. That's no joke. That's when I had a gun pulled on me and a pullover. Downtown San Jose, they were always on people all the time. But they want to go back to that because they want to revenue you, man. They want to revenue every shade of the rainbow. I can tell you, that's what they want. They not only they want to revenue you, they want to keep you down. Whether it's a picture of you driving 10 miles over the speed limit or pulling you over. Everybody should be against the expansion of TEU.
Elizabeth Agramont Justiniano.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth, and I'm a member of the Race, Equity, and Community Safety Committee at Sacred Heart Community Service and live in downtown San Jose, District 3. It is extremely important to me as a woman who is Black and Latina that police do better. I've been taught my whole life to watch out for the police. I watch the police watch me as they watch and racially profile members of my family, friends, and other members of my community. It is absolutely unacceptable that a Black man who acted heroically to stop gun violence be shot 4 times within 4 seconds and have his life forever changed. This is outrageous. This is frightening. He could have died. Too many Black lives have been lost and forever changed because the police are failing to protect and serve our community. If only police did what Keon Green did. If an unarmed, untrained civilian can stop gun violence, then why can't the police? How can we ever expect to trust the police? There needs to be more transparency and better training. It's not right that we are expected to spend our tax dollars on a government institution that results in Black and brown people being disproportionately targeted, attacked, and assaulted by the police. We demand that SJPD stop releasing misleading information about victims of police violence, stop treating victims of police violence like criminals, release the body cam footage as is unedited, and that the city of San Jose develop a trauma relief fund for the victims of all violence, especially cases involving officer-related shooting. Elected officials must be transparent and accountable to the people they represent. In the cases of police shootings, we demand our elected officials denounce gun violence in all its forms.
Jesus?
Good afternoon. My name is Jesus, and I'm an organizer with the Party for Socialism and Liberation. As a community, we are sick and tired of the persistent criminalization of the most vulnerable in our population. It is ridiculous that the police continue to plague our community after we have all been witness to the grotesque attacks upon Black, brown, and indigenous working class communities. SJPD and local government need to be held accountable for their flagrant disregard for human life. We demand that SJPD stop releasing misleading information about victims of police violence. We demand SJPD to stop treating victims of police violence like criminals, and to also release the body cam footage as is, unedited. And more than an apology, we also demand the city of San Jose to create a trauma relief fund for the victims of all violence. Thank you.
Cynthia?
Hello, hi, my name is Cynthia Wanji. I am a former member of District 1 in San Jose, but I went to San Jose State. I spent probably like 7-8 years living in San Jose. I plan to move back in San Jose. It's my city, man, is what I'm trying to say. I'm actually an immigrant from Cameroon, and I've been in America for about 18 years. And I can tell you the entire time I've been in America, I've been afraid for my life, right? Not only afraid that someone would hurt me because of my race or my gender or my orientation, but afraid that I would never get justice, especially if it's by a police officer. Every person in my family, as in me and all 5 of my older siblings, have been told how to act in front of a police officer. And I'm telling you this because everyone has already said the demands, release the body cam footage, get some justice. But I'm telling you personally how it's affecting me. I am a 27-year-old engineer in Silicon Valley. I did all the things that you're supposed to do as an immigrant. I worked hard. I got a job. I work at a large company, and I still fear for my life. And I don't know if that fear is ever going to go away. When I look at Kwame Green, he's supposed to be the person that we all want, right? He was a person that did good, and he still got shot for it. And all that makes me feel is that as a Black person, all you can be in those types of situations is either a victim of a gunman or a victim of a police officer. There's no way that you can be a hero and be Black. And it makes me wonder, because y'all increase the police budget, but where is all that training going to if us as Black people have more training in tense situations than the police officers that take 3 seconds to shoot someone?
Rolanda?
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello. Hi, my name is Rolanda McGee. I am actually a resident of Oakland, California, and a member of the community who loves Keon Green. I would like to say a couple of speakers have misspoken regarding his status. Keon Green is not deceased. He was shot 4 times, and he's still alive recovering. That's the first thing I want to say. And I am just asking for body cam footage to be released. You need to, I'm asking that all negative images of Kayon is immediately removed from all sites because the police are doing these still images that make it look like he's the criminal when he actually saved many lives that night. And no one is stating that. I want the police chief to go back on in another press conference and apologize to the Green family. Kayon is a hero. We saw what just happened in Sacramento. That same instance could have happened in San Jose. We want justice for Kayon. If this was your son or your family member, would you be stalling on the body cam footage? Would you be stalling on making the police accountable? What would you do? We want justice for Kayon Green, and we want it now. Please respect and honor the Green family in all your future references. Thank you.
Alondra?
Yes, hello. My name is Alondra Ordaz Arellano from District 6, a 23-year-old Latina woman, and I am here to demand justice for Kayon Green. We demand SGPD stop releasing misleading information about victims of police violence. SGPD stop treating victims of police violence like criminals. SGPD release the body cam footage unedited and without captions and any other information required by SB 1421 in a timely manner. City of San Jose create a trauma relief fund for the victims of all violence, especially cases of officer-involved shootings. Elected officials must be transparent and accountable to the people they represent in cases of police shootings. We demand our elected officials denounce gun violence of all its forms. No justice, no peace. Black Lives Matter. I'm done.
Nancy Robles?
Hi, everyone. My name is Nancy. I'm with the Party for Socialism and Liberation. And I want to start calling this what it really is, and that was an attempted murder. Thankfully, Kayon Green is still alive and recovering, and we pray him a speedy recovery, but that's what it was. It was an attempted murder by the fascist police and SJPD, and we must demand you as city council have to take responsibility for the complete incompetence of SJPD. Why did they do this? They did it because they know they can get away with it. They did it because they know that there is no accountability. You, the mayor, Sam Liccardo, the mayor, you always give them a pass when this happens. It's happened too many times. When we had an action at City Hall, we read out more than 20 names of people who have been called, more than that of people who have been killed by SJPD, and that is way too many fucking names. You need to take accountability. This cannot keep happening. There's $875 million of our taxpayer money that goes to PD, and they're not even trained to de-escalate a fight. They shoot somebody after 3 seconds. It is unbelievable. I cannot imagine that this has happened in our community, and I want you to know that if we don't get no justice, you won't get no peace. Thank you.
Jesselyn Faust?
Yes, my name is Jessie. I'm a member of District 3, and I'm also a part of Hero Tent, and I want to join everyone else on this call in calling for justice for Kayon Green and his family. I think the tweets from Mayor Liccardo immediately following the shooting are absolutely disgusting, and I hope, Mayor Liccardo, that the first thing that you do when you speak to his family is apologize for your statements and your actions surrounding this shooting. I wonder why none of the other city council members have spoken up or made any statements regarding what I think Nancy correctly called the attempted murder of this young man by SJPD. Thank God he is alive, and the city needs to be held responsible for these actions of this police officer, because it's very clear that this is a systemic problem. This is not a problem of one individual officer, but this is the problem of the entire system of the police here in San Jose. I was at San Jose State yesterday talking to students, and students there, particularly Black students on campus at San Jose State, are afraid. And that's on you. That's on you as city council members, as elected leaders of the community. You need to change that. You need to change the police department so that students, so that everyone can feel safe in our community. You should be releasing the body cam footage immediately. You should be listening to Keon Green's family and the demands of his family. You should be compensating this young man for the horrible injuries that he's sustained from this. Justice for Keon Green. Black Lives Matter.
Olamide Abios. Pardon me for mispronouncing your name.
Hi, my name is Olamide Abiose, and I'm a student at Stanford University. I was horrified to learn about the shooting of Keon Green, someone who bravely did the job that police are incapable of doing. He safely de-escalated a fight and helped keep his community safe. But the SJPD shot him 4 times and later chained him to a hospital bed. The mayor and other officials completely dehumanized him in later public statements while treating the trigger-happy cops as heroes. This shoot first, ask questions later is not a one-off exception to the rule. It's policing working exactly as it's designed. There's no reforming an inherently racist institution where all Black and brown people are guilty until proven innocent. And as a Black woman, I find it deeply sick and hypocritical that this city's leadership has made countless empty professions of Black Lives Mattering, but has no words of condemnation for what happened to Keon Green. It's abhorrent but not surprising that SJPD has consistently re-traumatized Keon and his family and has taken no accountability for its actions. His story is a literal example of what communities mean when they say police don't keep us safe, we keep us safe. So in concert with everyone else who's spoken today, I demand that SJPD stop releasing misleading information about victims of police violence, stop treating victims of police violence like criminals, to release the body cam footage as it is, unedited, without captions and any other information required by SB 1421 in a timely manner, and that the city of San Jose create a trauma relief fund for the victims of all violence, especially cases of officer-involved shootings or really police murders and woundings, and that elected officials must be transparent and accountable to the people they represent. In cases of police shootings, we demand that our elected officials denounce gun violence in all forms. Thank you.
Sanika Mahajan.
Hi, my name is Sonika Mahajan, and I'm a resident of Santa Clara County and an organizer with Hero 10 and the Rex Committee at Sacred Heart. I've been here before, and I'm here yet again to demand that the city of San Jose recognize the violent racist impact of SJPD and on our community in San Jose. We should not have to be grateful that we did not have to add Keon Green's name to a list of dozens that have lost their lives at the hands of SJPD in the last few decades. The more this happens, the more we cannot ignore the pattern of literal premeditated murder. Mayor Liccardo's tweets after the incident aimed to paint the police as heroes for wielding their guns without discretion, but the real hero in this situation was Keon Green, who disarmed a gunman with no violence at all. We as a community are so tired of seeing our friends and family criminalized, while SJPD are the real criminals and the mayor and city council stand complicit. In solidarity with the organizations here today, I call on city council to release body cam footage unedited, create a trauma relief fund for all victims of officer-involved shootings, and end practices of criminalizing victims and abusing their families. I demand a direct apology from Mayor Liccardo for his dismissive language regarding the incident and demand the removal of any officers involved. I see on the screen that the city council deems abusive language is inappropriate today. Well, we believe abusive treatment and violence from SJPD is unacceptable. Listen to your community, defund SJPD, and take accountability now. Justice for Keon Green.
Lonnie Ballard.
Hi, my name is Lonnie. I'm a San Jose resident in District 2, and I'd like to comment on the Keon Green shooting. My very diverse South San Jose neighborhood has its share of problems, but overall I feel safe. But it's important that the whole community feels safe. I often see the police cruising by our small neighborhood park, and I trust that they will take the right action when situations arise. But that trust is not automatic. The Can Green shooting demonstrates what can happen when officers shoot first and ask questions later. This incident must be investigated. Public transparency is essential. Body cam footage must be released, unedited. The San Jose Police must be held accountable, and I hold you, our elected representatives, accountable as well. Thank you.
Andrew Siegler.
Hi there. Hi to the mayor and council members of San Jose. My name is Andrew Siegler. I'm a member of Surge at Sacred Heart, and I'm a voter living in downtown San Jose, District 3. I would like to comment on the racist police shooting of Keon Green. I have a mental health disability. The first time I had an episode, I was faced with several police officers shouting confusing and conflicting orders at me. I considered myself lucky to be here, unscathed, today. Others are not so lucky, and disproportionately it is Black and brown lives, and really any marginalized group. And that is a systemic failure to protect and serve the community at large. We demand that SJPD stop releasing misleading information about victims of police violence. SJPD stop treating victims of police violence like criminals, such as handcuffing victims to beds and interrogating family members. Demand that SJPD release the body cam footage as is, unedited, without captions, and any other information required by SB 1421 in a timely manner. City of San Jose create a trauma relief fund for the victims of violence, especially cases of officer-involved shootings. And elected officials must be transparent and accountable to the people they represent. In cases of police shootings, we demand our elected officials denounce gun violence in all of its forms. Additionally, there needs to be a personal, private apology to the Green family and a public apology to them as well. Black Lives Matter, justice for Keon Green. Thank you for your time.
V.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
This is not the first time that I have attended a council meeting in San Jose. I am here to reiterate that body cam footage needs to be released unedited. More than just a private apology, a public apology needs to go to the family of Keon Green. The council members, I'm sure you guys get to go home comfortable to your families. Families such as the Green family, the Stanley family, the Johnson family, the Gonzalez family, the Lopez family, get to go home with a missing family member that they'll never see again. Those are not just the only names of those who've been impacted by the negligence and the violence of police brutality in the Bay Area. And I, unfortunately, am in a spot where I feel like it's not going to stop unless the council members, including Mayor Liccardo, who won't take it seriously. You guys need to take it seriously in a way where that the police need to be defunded. And that's all I have to say.
Mary Helen Doherty.
My name is Mary Helen Doherty. I live in District 3 downtown, and I'm a member of Showing Up for Racial Justice at Sacred Heart. We need your value-driven leadership to get the San Jose Police Department to be accountable. The police must stop treating victims of violence like criminals. These victims are our neighbors and our children. In addition, the body cam footage of the abusive shooting of Keon Green needs to be released unedited. And please support the request of the people you represent who are asking for your leadership today to address the systemic issues that permeate and plague the San Jose Police Department. Thank you.
Shashwat Kondadai.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Hey, thanks for your time. My name is Shashwat Kandare. Grew up in Cupertino. I live in Morgan Hill. Had a lot of family members and friends who went to San Jose State. I've been to La Victoria a lot. I'm a member of Hero Tent as well. And just want to reiterate what everybody else has been saying about the racist systemic police violence that SJPD inflicts on the community. And I think, you know, everything has been said. I just want to ask a question, like, who's really in charge? Is the council afraid to hold the police accountable? Are they afraid that the police will inflict violence upon them and their families if they try to hold the police accountable? Like, who's really the dog and who's really wagging the tail here? And if the council is afraid or unwilling to hold the police accountable, then like we have like serious problems. Like all of you need to go, and we like all of you need to be replaced by people who aren't afraid and who are willing to represent the people and make sure that justice is served, and, you know, get rid of all the racist police officers and administrators and hold them accountable for their murders and their dishonesty and the way they frame all these situations and try to play themselves off as the heroes when they're really just a bunch of yahoos. It's terrifying. Like, this is not the society that I want to live in. Like, yeah, sorry. Thanks for your time.
Back to the council.
Oh, thank you. All right, let's adjourn the meeting.